New this week at Home Store and More. All Christmas tree lights are half price. That's right, half price. Save €30 on 1,000 LED cluster lights, or save an amazing €50 on 2,000 LED cluster lights. Let our half-price Christmas tree lights add a Christmas twinkle to your home. But better hurry, because when all our half-price Christmas tree lights are gone, they're gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
You got happy with the Naughty Alarm Clock.
There he is there now, all fired up, stoked up. Greg, do you ever come
to go, bro?
Listen to me on a Friday. Do you know this happens to me numerous times? It'll never happen to me again. See, on a Friday, and it's, you know, it's the weekend. I need to do something different. You told me that way back. He says you need to differentiate the weekend from the week.
Yeah, of course.
So on a Friday, I light the fire, and some Fridays I go to the cupboard underneath the sink, and there's no fire lighters there. And I'm
Really?
thinking, oh, what am I going to do?
What's
How am I
that
going to light
feel
this fire then and try to you think I'm out in the bush then with these wee sticks? But see, the next time I'm out of fire lighters,
Call round to my house.
I'm going down to you. I'm going to stay for the weekend.
Oh yeah, this is
save a bag coal.
I was looking for something at the weekend and
Fire lighters?
No, I thought it's in this cupboard. It's at the back of this cupboard. So
How could you get in the cupboard? There's that many packets of fire
That's
lighters.
the problem, you see. So I took one packet of fire lighters. Still, there was no end in sight.
big cupboard
2,
this you
3,
have.
4. Next thing you know, there was 14 packets of fire lighters.
Special
sitting on
offer. Where did you buy them? Come on.
And the thing I was looking for was a pair of headphones. Wasn't actually in that cupboard at all.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
you have a thing with open fires because somebody texted you on Saturday morning, 11 o'clock, and I says, "Are you coming down here to this boot
Stick
sale?"
season, boy.
You says, "I'm waiting on sticks." You are something else.
It's just been a fire kind of a weekend.
Yeah, you like your cozy heat, don't you, Daddy?
But sure, you stuck up in cornflakes.
I do. I wasn't saying you picture, but then you
People,
know.
that was the point, you see. In a house, it's like back in the old days, right? Everyone had that drawer, and maybe still do, not as much now, where it was just full of plastic bags.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like full of
right.
plastic bags. Now it's full of these.
No, but
forever
when
bags.
they're
Other
on,
people store fire lighters. You store cornflakes.
they're gluten free and they're kind of reduced price, 75 cents cheaper, and I buy them.
Good man. So
I bulk up.
You're a hoarder.
Well, it's
what else do people
special
hoard?
offers, yeah.
All right, Leo. Take care of yourself.
Have a
Have a love. Did you get anything on Saturday?
No, I didn't.
Okay, right. We'll do it again. We'll
I kept a lookout for you, though.
Yes.
Guess what for?
What?
Fire lighters, sticks.
All right, fair play to you. It is the 9 till noon show here in Highland Radio. A little late to the news. My apologies. It's over now to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. As part of his Leaders Tour, the Taoiseach is travelling to Donegal today. Simon Harris will visit Letterkenny this evening before making his way to Ballybuffet and Stranorder. The Fine Gael leader will meet outside Hatch Coffee Shop in Letterkenny at around 5 o'clock for a walkabout and canvass before travelling to Mace on Pine Street Ballybuffet to meet at 6 o'clock. Meanwhile, cuts to inheritance tax and the cost of childcare will form a key part of Fianna Fáil's election manifesto. The party is the first to launch its document this morning. Political correspondent Sean Defoe reports.
The Fianna Fáil manifesto runs to more than 30,000 words and will focus on state investment in pensions, reducing waiting lists and recruiting 5,000 extra Gardaí. Elsewhere, Fine Gael is launching a housing policy and will commit to building 303,000 homes over the next 5 years. The Social Democrats will reveal details of a new government agency it would set up to oversee public spending, while also setting up a new anti-corruption agency for politicians. Sinn Féin will launch its full slate of candidates, and all parties are continuing to canvass as we head into the first full week of the campaign.
Tributes are being paid today to 29-year-old Owen Lynch from Castlederg, who died in a crash in Strabane yesterday morning. He was pronounced dead at the scene after the white Toyota Land Cruiser he was travelling in crashed in the Orchard Road area shortly before 7:40am. Police say inquiries are continuing to establish the circumstances surrounding the collision. They're appealing to anyone with information or who may have dashcam footage to contact them on 101. Serious concerns have been raised over low water levels at Lough Columkill in Milford. The large water resource is currently the main water supply for Milford and surrounding areas. Councillor Declan Meehan fears the impact the depletion of Lough Columkill will have on water supply in the coming months, as well as the ecological and environmental knock-on effect. He is urging Uisce Éireann to find alternative sources to protect water supply in the area.
This is exactly why I'm highlighting it now in an effort to put pressure on Uisce Éireann in particular through the council to source alternative and complementary sources of water for this area. Too much has been asked of Lough Columkill currently, and again, if there isn't a plan to help help replenish the water levels in Lough Conn-Kill, whether that is replenished naturally or again to divert demand to other sources, then there will be serious knock-on effects into 2025.
Weather now, any mist and fog patches will clear this morning. It will be a dry and bright day with spells of sunshine, feeling fresher with highest temperatures of 9 to 11 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
Now is the perfect time to make your family and friends feel cherished by sending them post. Because remember, the last day to post to Australia and Canada is Thursday, December 5th. Send love near and far this Christmas with An Post. See anpost.com/Christmas for more.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you. You're very welcome along to another week of the 9 till Noon Show. It's 9:05 on this Monday. It is the 11th of November. How are you all keeping? I do hope you're very well indeed. I hope you had a nice weekend and woke up feeling good on this fresh Monday morning across the Northwest. Right, we have a busy show as always for you. Lots to get through, covering stuff that's in the news, covering stuff that's important to you, and features and conversation all over the next 3 hours. 086 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp and text number, 086 60 25,000. Or give us a call on 07491 25,000. Or if you want to email, it's comments at highlandradio.com. And you can also watch the show across our social media platforms on YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland, which means if you wish, you can watch it on your smart TV or Fire Stick, and we're on Facebook. Okay, let's see what's making the front pages of the papers today. The Derry People Donegal News. The Taoiseach Simon Harris will be in Donegal today as the general election campaign swings firmly into gear. He'll visit Letterkenny later this afternoon. He'll then stop off in Ballybofey and Stranorlar as part of a visit to the Northwest. It comes just 3 days after the Dáil was dissolved on Friday and the general election officially called for November the 29th, that being the Friday, of course. Mr. Harris has already visited a number of constituencies around the country over the past number of days, and his trip to Donegal will be a timely boost to the election campaigns of his party's candidates here. Senators Nicky Bradley and John McNulty. He's not a senator, sorry, the way I phrased that, it sounded like he was. There'll be a walkabout of Letterkenny's main street with the Fine Gael delegation starting out their canvass at Hatched Coffee Shop at Upper Main Street at 4:30pm. And what's interesting, actually, I think, in relation to his visit is there was a period of time whereby party leaders' visits were closely guarded as to where they might be. I think it was to do with protests and that type of stuff. Even we wouldn't have been privy to all the details, but this is all out there, and it'll be interesting to see what other leaders make their way to Donegal. Of course, we had Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou McDonald up last week. Maybe that was her visit as part of the election. And she was in studio with us here and had a chat. And who else might there be up? I don't know, Vain 2 leader, Padre Tobin's coming up, or Fianna Fáil leader Micheál Martin. We'll see. We'll see. The Derry News this morning. Upwards of 2,000 people attended a rally for women's safety in Derry's Guildhall Square in protest against recent attacks on women in the city and district. The rally on Friday night began with photographs of the 24 women murdered in the north since 2020 being held aloft on the Guildhall steps. 24 since the start of this decade. That's a shocking, an almost unbelievable figure. The rally was organised following a spate of reported sexual assaults in the city, including 2 knife-point attacks on November 1st and November 2nd. The PSNI believe that 2 attacks may be linked. Following the attacks, an increased high-visibility police presence in key areas has been put in operation. And this is what happens when you talk about things out loud and there's more publicity of it. It seems that more women are coming forward having been followed or threatened or not feeling safe or what have you, their own circumstances where they feel after the fact that they perhaps had a lucky escape or what have you. If that's something you continue to want to talk about, if you're coming to us from Derry, 00353 8660 25,000. We'll go on to the Nationals, and I mean, you know, if you're going to invite Michael O'Leary to launch your election campaign, you know what you're going to get, don't you? Well, he's caused controversy for Fine Gael, and any party at this stage, they don't want to be apologising. That's we've seen that in the United States elections as well. When you've got things that are being launched today, maybe you're launching a manifesto, maybe you want to hit the media with certain points and what have you, the last thing you want to do is see a controversy on the front pages. And that's what's happened to Fine Gael today. Fine Gael is scrambling to limit the damage caused by a room full of party supporters roaring with laughter as Ryanair chief Michael O'Leary mocked teachers. Mr. O'Leary was launching the election campaign of Enterprise Minister Peter Burke when he said he wouldn't employ a lot of teachers if he wanted to get things done. Mr. Burke has been forced to distance himself from Mr. O'Leary's comments, which were followed by cheers and laughter from those who attended the event in Mullingar, County Westmeath. And that's it, you see. If he had said it and there was gasps or oohs and ahs in the room, they may have had less damage from it, but there was laughter and cheers, which is not a good look. Taoiseach Simon Harris insisted teachers were the backbone of Irish society and said Mr. O'Leary should stick to running Ryanair. However, Mr. Harris's comments came amid a flurry of criticism from his political rivals who said the footage of O'Leary disparaging teachers showed how Fine Gael viewed the average worker. The Irish National Teachers Organisation described the comments as outrageous and an insult to the dedication and hard work of our teachers. On to the Irish Times now, and that story covered on the front of it, the top story as well. But further down, An Garda Síochána is to significantly expand its monitoring of social media accounts in an effort to combat online child abuse, far-right violence and other serious offences. And I think what's interesting in this, in that various different things have been sort of grouped together there. Firstly, in relation to any abuse of children, I think there is not a person in this country that would not love to see every resource of An Garda Síochána online to ensure that that is not happening. But then to sort of throw it in there with far-right violence and other serious offences, those are two areas where there can be a little bit of ambiguity, and it's what you might view as far-right or not far-right. Words that may be offensive to some might not be to others. And I think that area is a little bit more grey in terms of enforcement. Open source intelligence, which involves analysing public data sources, including social media activity, has been a part of Garda investigations for many years. It's been used in many prosecutions, including rape and murder, to tie the suspects to the scene of crimes or establish their connections with other criminals. Social media posts have recently formed a key part of investigations into the Dublin riots in November 2023. Gardaí have been gathering posts of people claiming to be involved in the riots and those accused of inciting the violence. A number of people are before the courts on related charges, and I note there's a couple of the more outspoken people, probably right-leaning on social media, who recently received a notification from Twitter, or X as it's now known, that Gardaí were seeking access to their accounts, login details, passwords, previous posts, that type of stuff. So it's something that's actually ongoing at the moment. On to the Irish Daily Mail and a decision by Michelle O'Neill, which is going to be divisive. Some people are going to say it's the way forward. Others are going to believe it's a sellout. That's the joy of topics. People have different points of view. Stormont First Minister Michelle O'Neill has participated in the Remembrance Sunday ceremony at Belfast City Hall, the first time a senior Sinn Féin figure has taken part in such an event in Northern Ireland. Ms O'Neill, who said her attendance is a demonstration of her determination to fulfil her pledge to be a First Minister for all, laid a laurel wreath at the Cenotaph in Belfast. A message on the wreath read, "As First Minister, I wish to take our society beyond old limits to build bridges and to a shared future together. Today I remember all lives lost in the horror of war and conflict, past and present," though the poppy also represents soldiers who would have served in Northern Ireland. It's not just about the First and Second World Wars. Miss O'Neill attended the commemoration alongside Deputy First Minister Emma Little-Pengelly of the DUP, who also laid a wreath. Hundreds of people lined the streets outside City Hall as UK Armed Force members participated in the ceremony. So again, she did commit to be a representative for all, but for some supporters or non-supporters, that might just be a step too far for them. Back to the elections here in the Republic. The Irish Daily Star points out that nearly 60,000 youngsters who turned 18 in the last year are being urged to make sure their voices are heard by ensuring they are registered to vote. Just interested, if you are a younger person, are you registering to vote? Are you keen to vote if you turned 18 since the last election? And also, too, mums and dads and granny and granddads out there, I mean, are you encouraging your young people to vote? And sort of trying to relate the importance to them of voting or not. Because at the end of the day, what happens is we know the demographics of people that vote, and what might happen there is you'll see policy statements and sort of incentives out there to appeal to those that are likely to vote. I mean, if a lot of 18 to 21-year-olds aren't going to vote, how much time in your election campaign are you going to dedicate to things that are important to them? And that's kind of a little bit of a problem. Well, the National Youth Council of Ireland is urging all eligible young voters to register before the deadline passes tomorrow. They said this includes the 60,000 who are eligible for the first time and more than 600,000 who are in the 18 to 29 age bracket. Catherine Walsh, NYCI's Director for Policy and Advocacy, said Ireland's youth population is growing and there are over 600,000 young people aged 18 to 29 eligible to register to vote in Ireland. Now, that's massive. I mean, if they did register en masse and vote in a certain way, it really could have a massive impact on the outcome of the election. But how many will? I don't know. A very unusual story, and thankfully it's unusual, coming from Hungary. An Irishman arrested over the murder of a US woman in Hungary made internet searches for "Do pigs really eat dead bodies?" police have alleged. US nurse Mackenzie Michalski, just 31, had been on holiday in Budapest with friends when she went missing last Monday night following a meal at a restaurant. Her alleged killer, who is in his 30s and was identified only by his initials, was arrested by Hungarian detectives within 24 hours of her disappearance. Footage surfaced yesterday of the suspect being photographed and fingerprinted at a police station in the capital. Now, it's alleged that this lady was on holiday with friends but stayed an extra night and had disappeared, didn't check out of the Airbnb. They trawled through CCTV footage and found a video of her in one nightclub engaging with this person, and then a second video in another nightclub that they had travelled to, and then they found evidence that she had gone back to his flat. He claims, he admitted it, but claims that it was an accident. But then he commissioned a suitcase and transported her body somewhere else. He's in police custody now, and a terrific story. Finally, the Irish Daily Mirror. Children's biggest social fears include being made fun of, left out and teased for how they look. A poll of 1,000 children aged 6 to 11, just 6 to 11, 29% worry about someone teasing them over the clothes they wear. That was a big thing for me, actually, when I do think back. 26% fret about being the only one in their class who wasn't invited to a party. Kind of feel like this is talking to me a little bit in my youth. It also emerged 47% have found themselves in situations where they weren't sure if friends were joking with them or actually being mean. A third admitted that at some point they've felt as though they don't fit in, leaving them feeling sad, comfortable and awkward. So that's what's bothering 6 to 11-year-olds. I do wonder, should we even be asking young people those questions or putting that kind of stuff in their heads and just let them be young and try and guide them not to feel those things? I don't know. Right, okay, we got a letter in by post, which they do come in. It's from an angry, self-titled angry Letterkenny resident. It reads as follows. I just had to highlight this problem since before Halloween and now after we're being tortured by fireworks, despite the guards being on the radio giving warnings about what would happen if anyone was found with fireworks, etc. But what I'd like to know is how many have actually been caught and how many are going to be prosecuted? Because, as far as I can see, talk is cheap. They've done nothing. I have to say, I'm totally disappointed. I live in the Letterkenny area, I pay property tax and can't even sit in front of my fire and watch TV in the evening in peace and quiet. These young ones and their parents know exactly that they are annoying people, but the parents aren't too busy running from the house to house drinking to even bother. Well, I can say if it doesn't stop, I'll be in contact with TUSLA. This might sound terrible, but the sooner one gets hurt, the better, as I know it'll only be them then that I can enjoy my home that I've worked hard for. Right? I mean, That's the review, right? And that came in sort of mid last week. Maybe it's died down a little bit now, but they were wondering, what level of actual securing arrests or what have you have been made. Right, just a quick one before the break. Hi, just wondering why when I top up a council parking app, do they automatically take €1 for administration? Also, I was told today that if you pay your property tax in the office, they also take €1 administration charge. This is just an extra tax. So when I top up council parking app, they automatically take £1 for administration. So we thought we'd dig a little bit deeper and get an answer for that listener. In 2020, Donegal County Council procured Park Magic to provide a parking app that can be used in council-owned car parks and on-street parking bays where pay and display parking is applicable. The Donegal e-parking service lets you easily pay for parking right from your mobile phone. When a customer tops up to the value of €39 or less, a charge of €1 is applied by Park Magic, Charge Magic, to the customer's account. If a customer tops up by €40 or more, no charge is applied to the customer's account. The collection of property tax is a matter for revenue. Understand that, but you can understand also too whilst why we as the public might make a connection between the two. So £40 or more topping up, no €1 administration charge. €39 or less, there is. Why not develop your own app? Okay, that's the answer to that. I'm not sure if the listener's going to be satisfied, but what you thought to be true is true.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Don't even think about buying a bed until you've checked out Restex Beds. Famous for their quality, comfort and excellent service, a Restex bed will ensure a perfect sleep. Restex Beds, Mountaintop Letterkenny. Leave the rest to us.
Ready to transform your smile? Discover the magic of Blue Poppy Dental in Letterkenny and Donegal Town. With implantologists, surgical and cosmetic dentists, orthodontists and an endodontist all under one roof, we've got all your dental needs covered. Starting your journey is easy. Call us on 074 91 20355 or book your appointment online anytime through our user-friendly patient portal at bluepoppydental.com. Blue Poppy Dental and Orthodontics, where smiles shine brighter.
All children get sick, but you can try to plan ahead. Who can care for them at home? Have you got a thermometer? What about children's pain or fever medication? Visit mychild.ie for advice on pregnancy, baby and toddler health.
Thank you for attending this meditation session for badgers who forgot to check for gas pipes before digging, without knowing how disruptive it could be, putting others at risk and doing it unknowingly for all their working life. And it could have been avoided had they just checked in the first place. Let's begin.
Always check for gas pipelines before you break ground. Visit gasnetworks.ie/dig for more information.
Thinking about upgrading your car? Pre-order your brand new Kia now at iMotors. We're offering one lucky customer a chance to win €10,000 when they pre-order with iMotors. Avail of 0% finance and a free home charger on selected vehicles. Grab a €500 super value voucher and 7 years warranty. Visit iMotors today and upgrade your car.
iMotors, fearless generation.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is
9:23 just turned. So Ryanair boss Michael O'Leary said he wouldn't generally employ a lot of teachers to go out and get things done, and he said more accountants are needed in government than teachers. Joseph Higgins is executive member of the TUI in Donegal, and he joins us now. Joseph, why has this bothered educators as much as it has, and not just been seen as a throwaway comment by a maverick?
Look, it would have been easy to have seen it as a throwaway, comment, but it's very insulting to a very, very important profession within this country. A lot of people, I would like to think a lot of people in this country owe a lot to their teachers. Our teaching profession is one of the, in my opinion, one of the most respected professions. It's one of the most respected professions in the country. To be fair to Simon Harris, he backed it up. He talked about previous Taoiseach that got this country out of an economic calamity. whether everybody agrees with everything they did or not. Enda Kenny was a teacher. But it's not just that. Like, it's very easy to give out about a profession that's been underfunded by successive governments over decades. Not just a small number of years. Like, if you look at what the spend is, the OECD average spend of GDP in education is 5.7%. 5.7. In Ireland, it's 2.8. We're crucially underfunded. And yet, if you look at how successful we are in terms of how we teach our students, you know, overall, out of all the countries that participate in the PISA tests, we're second in reading. You know, out of the OECD, we're top, and we're top in the EU. And like, if you take that, not just in reading and maths, we're well up there as well, and in science, we're well up there.
And all that in the context of, depending which area of teaching we're talking, is being achieved in some of the biggest classes in Europe as well.
We have, like, Greg, you know this better than most. Like, this conversation has been had before. We have some of the highest, class sizes. You know, we have Rose as a union leader. I'm there going into bat for teachers all the time, telling teachers, you know what, you cannot take too many in your classroom. Like, if you were a home economics teacher, you take too many in your classroom, and you have an accident in that classroom, the teacher is the person, you know, not the principal, because the principal will say, oh, the teacher took, you took those students. That's why we have directives that we expect teachers to stick to. But in terms of this, we have a teacher recruitment and retention crisis as well. Maybe not to the same extent in Donegal. The big issue in Donegal is getting teachers permanent positions, getting them CIDs. But in other parts of the country where we have, you know, we have a cost of living crisis. We have a cost of living crisis anyway, but we can't get them places to stay. You know, like Mr. O'Leary's throwaway comment, you have 2 ears and one mouth. Sometimes you should listen twice as much as you speak.
The thing that stood out for me, though, in that was not necessarily what he says, because listen, he says a lot of stuff. It's the reaction in the room. Because, you know, teacher bashing is a thing. You know that yourself. The summer holidays comments, a lot of criticism towards teachers about elements of the SPHE. You know, like teachers, you get a free hit at teachers sometimes. That's what it feels like. And I was just slightly disappointed that there was not gasps in that room rather than laughter and cajoling.
Well, when people make throwaway comments like that there, and then people make glib, you know, the reaction, it's almost like you're playing to the mob. You know, to me, it just showed a lack of sensitivity, a lack of knowledge as well. You know, we all saw, like, it's almost like, you know, eating bread is soon forgotten. During the COVID crisis, teachers worked incredibly hard. Like, I was sitting in front of a computer for 8 hours a day. You know, you were going cross-eyed. Eventually, you found it was very, very difficult for the students, but it was extremely difficult for the teachers. But I'll tell you one crowd, or one, you know, portion of the population that were very, very glad to see schools back open again, and that was parents, because they realized how difficult it was. Number one, they weren't equipped to teach their children at home, and they struggled to cope with their children actually being at home.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever the schools opened up, there were many parents who were extremely glad to see teachers back in classrooms and children back in classrooms, as teachers were glad to be back in classrooms as well. And the value of the teacher was seen, you know, to the highest degree during a crisis. And schools are schools keep this country going in terms of, we allow the parents to go to work, we teach their children, you know, we inform them, we prepare them for life beyond the classroom and into third level and beyond. Look, I think it was just,
Can I say one thing though, Joseph? Like, there's an irony here in that there's going to be an awful lot of chat over the next 3 weeks. And you know, the TUI and other teachers' unions might have released press releases seeking some sort of a commitment from various parties going into government. And it would have been hard to get in the front pages and on the radio. In a way, I think, ironically, Michael O'Leary has done teachers a favour, because the issues facing the teachers and schools are on the front page of every newspaper, and we're having conversations like this where you're able to, you know, articulate the gaps that are there and what needs to be done right in the mouth of an election. So whilst Michael O'Leary might have thought he was getting a free swing at teachers, it's thrust the issues facing teachers onto the front pages and into people's minds. So I think he's done you a favour to some extent.
Well, let's put it this way. you know, if he did, he certainly didn't mean it. In terms of what we're looking for, like I would broaden this issue out. You know, I was at a conference at the weekend on senior cycle reform or senior cycle redevelopment, and like we are looking at, you know, the complete revamp of our Leaving Cert, new subject specifications, you know, a new assessment criteria, you know, much of which we want a greater level. Like we're getting input in terms of the development of it up to a point, but I certainly don't want to see senior cycle redevelopment being a fait accompli with basically only a token measure of input from teachers, because the parents of this country and the children of this country will not thank us down the line if we don't tease this out, because the Leaving Certificate is a high stakes exam. You know, we have one of the fairest exam systems in the world. We don't have a side door in Ireland and we don't have a back door into college. You know, if you want to, you know, the Leaving Cert might not always be equal, because parents who have greater amounts of money can afford grinds to beat the band and have paid absolutely astounding amounts of money to help their children get on. But in terms of the education the children receive in class, it's fair and equal. And the Leaving Cert, in terms of the way it's marked, is fair and equal. And their system has to be protected. You know, the unfortunately COVID resulted in great inflation, and we're gradually bringing that back down. And I know some countries have already basically just ended it. To be fair, I think gradually it needs to be brought back. I think the minister has done pretty well here. I think it's going to eventually level out, but we have to be careful now with senior cycle redevelopment that we don't reinflate it again. I think we have to keep that fairness and equality, and that's going to be an election issue too. Look, there are other things that are very important to teachers. You know, that Michael O'Leary probably opened the door on this. But it was still very wrong of him to say that when the man doesn't know. I'd love to see him stand in front of some of the classrooms that teachers stand in front of in Ireland and see how he gets on.
Well, he has people on his behalf to stand in front of his disgruntled staff. He doesn't have to do it himself. Right, okay, listen, Joseph, thanks very much for that. As I say, you know, his comments are his comments. Michael O'Leary is Michael O'Leary. He says things to be controversial, but the reaction to what he had to say is the thing that sort of sits with me. You know, he's almost trumpet, like he'll say anything, but you know, when you get cheering,
people are going to come round the door from various political parties, and like for Fine Gael, I would say we'll try and put this fire out as quickly as they can. I would be very surprised if they didn't.
Thanks so much for your time. Take care. That's Joseph Higgins, executive member of the TUI in Donegal. Good to speak to him. I hope the Taoiseach's convoy from Letterkenny to Ballybofey this evening doesn't feel the need to use lights and sirens to get through traffic Letterkenny bypass. Maybe it's actually a good argument to argue for the relief road. Michael O'Leary is right about teachers taking up government jobs, says this listener. I've always thought to hold a portfolio, you should have experience in that field. Could I go to any other job in the country and have no experience in the field and get a job there? Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we saw that recently with Michael McGrath. It's Micheál McGrath. Obviously, he went to Europe and they were hoping they would get a finance portfolio because of his background in finance. Instead, he got a sort of like a law and order type of a portfolio, which meant that he had to scrub on that. That's not his expertise, and he had to sit in front of a whole load of EU delegates over there and sort of argue why he was the right person for the job. So it's not just at local level. Sometimes people getting put into jobs they're not qualified for. It's at a European level as well. Now, Brendan was on to say, from what I've seen from the campaign trail so far, there seems to be an awful lot of gaslighting from Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil ministers towards people on the street. It's obvious they need to champion things they feel they've done. However, when they're challenged on real issues, to use bonus fuel or children's allowance payments as a rebuttal to their failing on housing, mica inflation and the health service, etc., it comes across as we owe them a vote. We owe them nothing. They are elected to serve the people who put them there in the first place. I'd also encourage all young or first-time voters in Donegal to get out and vote. It does make all the difference. I would agree with you on the last part there. The more people that vote, the better. Why are teachers not up in arms about Enoch Burke put in jail? Yes, of course, Greg, you're going to mention he can free himself. He's standing up against the woke ideology. The thing about it is I don't think he's doing the right thing. If he is incredibly passionate, his family are incredibly passionate about what they stand for, whether you agree or disagree, they're entitled to that view. He's serving no purpose in prison. He can simply say, and I know you said that I'm going to say what I'm going to say, but I'm going to add a little bit to it. He can purge his contempt and use his platform that he has. It's not just national now, it's international. And if he wishes to use his platform then to make that point, he's not going back to that school. That's just done and dusted. That's never going to happen. So he's sitting in jail for no reason other than the odd message saying why he's doing so. If he purged his contempt, he could be out and using his platform to further the agenda, if that's what he wished to do. Right, okay. I've highlighted the issue of e-scooters on footpaths with both the council and the Gardaí again. Nothing is ever done about it, and someone will end up killed or paralysed. I've been even asked the council to mark the footpaths and to put signs up. Something needs to be done before something terrible happens. And the bottom line is they should be on the road now. E-scooters are effectively push bikes, and they shouldn't be on the footpath. That's just the bottom line. They should be on the road. But then again, that creates its own dangers. How big of an issue is that in your area, be it Letterkenny or wherever you are listening to us today? A caller says, morning, would like to ask what's the best phone network price plan? It depends what kind of a plan you're going for. Look, there's a few of them. Sky are in there now. Gomo, there's that 24 company. A lot of them are all around the $14.99, $12.99 mark. You want to have no cap. I mean, there's always a fair usage policy, but no cap on data. But the most important thing about which network to go with, whether it's Sky or any of them for that matter, I won't mention any of them. Vodafone do SIM-only deals now as well. Is if it's not your area, Vodafone, find out the piggyback carrier, right? So I don't want to mislead anyone, but I think Gomo's on the back of the air network. I'm not sure about Sky or Tesco or any of those, but where you are, it's very important that you have a phone signal. There's no point paying $12.99 a month if you don't have a good phone signal most of the time as to where you are. So find out what of the cheaper networks, what network they're piggybacking, and you'll have a better idea of what quality of reception you'll get, be it for data or otherwise. Okay, let's take a quick break. Back with more shortly.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Celebrate Christmas in style at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny. Join us for unforgettable party nights. Friday, December 13th with the Cufflinks Band. Saturday, December 14th with David James and his band. And Saturday, December 21st with Red Alert Band. Enjoy mulled wine on arrival, a festive 4-course dinner and a live DJ for only €49 per person. Book now by calling the Clanry Hotel on 074 9124369 or email sales@clanryhotel.com.
Ladies, are you seeking expert gynecology care? At Greenview Medical Centre in Letterkenny, we're here to help. Whether it's advanced fertility treatments, specialised pelvic floor care, or a routine gynecology examination, our expert team offers the care you need in a comfortable setting, all without the hassle of a GP referral. Book your appointment easily online at greenviewmedicalcentre.ie. Greenview Medical Centre, Riverside Retail Park, Letterkenny, a new health horizon.
Looking for the ideal car for your next adventure? Explore the Volvo range of electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles at our Autumn 251 event. Choose our compact, all-electric Volvo EX30 for big performance in a small package, or our new 7-seater XC90 with next-gen user interface and a hybrid backup plan. Take your next trip in safety, style and comfort. Test drive your 251 Volvo today. Visit McKinley Motors or see volvocars.ie. Terms and conditions apply.
Me and the Minions are on a road trip. Yeah! To spread the word that Sky Full Fibre Broadband is now available in more homes across Ireland.
Voila!
So, Stuart, where are we going? Okay, Letterkenny. Then Lifford. Oh, and Bundoran too. Keep an eye out for 99.9% reliable Sky Full Fibre Broadband. Well, crank up the tunes, Kevin, and off we go. Search Sky Broadband today. Availability subject to location. See sky.ie/speeds.
There's bingo every Monday night at Halfway House Burnfoot. Doors open at 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. €2,500 must go. The snowball is €2,850 on 45 numbers or less. If you're not in, you can't win. That's Halfway House Bingo tonight at 8:30.
New this week at Home Store and More. All Christmas tree lights are half price. That's right, half price. Save €30 on 1,000 LED cluster lights, or save an amazing €50 on 2,000 LED cluster lights. Let our half-price Christmas tree lights add a Christmas twinkle to your home. But better hurry, because when all our half-price Christmas tree lights are gone, they're gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Now, as you might understand, sort of presenting a programme like this, you get quite a lot of contact from people. And it's not just always on air, it's off air as well. People that are in desperate situations. And I've tried to highlight this in recent weeks and months in individual cases, is there's an awful lot of people out there, and it seems to be often affecting women living on their own in their home with children, of being effectively made homeless. And I've 3 cases that were brought to my attention over the weekend alone. So the person's in situ, they get contacted by their landlord saying that someone's coming home, or the house is going up on the market. And, you know, as I say, I know 3 cases right now whereby in the 3 cases I'm speaking of, it's single parents with family that are being told they're going to have to get out of their home very, very soon. And there's an awful lot of it happening, but it's individual cases I'm hearing. But if I were to group it all together over the last couple of months, it's an awful lot of families. And I got this contact from a listener at the weekend. I'm renting in Letterkenny and I have a €400 hike in my rent, which is fair enough because it's market value, etc. At the moment, I'm paying $950 a month, which I can barely afford. I'm searching for other properties or even a bit of land I could put a mobile home on, but I can't get anywhere. I have a good enough job, but I can't get anywhere else to go. So basically, come January, I'll be homeless. My mother already has 2 siblings living with her because they've nowhere else to go. What can I do? On top of that, I've just found out that I have cancerous cells. I don't care about that, just that I might have nowhere to live. It's actually bad when you're hoping you'd die, because that would save me a lot of bother and my children would get death benefit and 4 times my salary. And that's a real person. Now, I did exchange with this person, and they were feeling very low at the time of that message, but are a little bit more hopeful in secondary messages in terms of how they're feeling about themselves, if you understand where I'm coming from. But that's just one of 3 examples that I heard over the weekend. And there's many more, unfortunately. And I don't mind getting the contacts, and we'll do as much as we can. But it's just really, really sad. Now we're going to stay with housing. We're joined by Mary. Hi, Mary. Good morning to you. Are you there, Mary?
Hi, how are you doing? Yeah.
Okay.
Hiya.
Right. Okay. Now I'm looking at some pictures that were sent in to us of your current accommodation, Mary. Talk us through it. Talk about for those listening in the radio land, so to speak. Tell us exactly what the situation is.
Well, the situation is the place we're living in is not suitable for my children. There's mold and mildew on the walls. The place is damp, it's cold. I've got onto the council, and I was on the phone the other day to the council, and I said to her that I'm expecting a 4th child, and that she said back to me then that when I have the child, send me and I'll add it to the file. And I said that's no good to me, because the place we're in, it's just not for my kids, and it's affecting their mental health, because we don't even have a back garden or nothing to play in, and they're all the time getting sick.
So currently you have 3 children and another on the way. How many bedrooms do you have?
I have 2 bedrooms, but there's one room filled with all the children's stuff.
Yeah. So effectively, you're all in the one room, and that's the room with all that mold that's on the walls. It seems to be all over the property, Mary.
Yeah, that's correct. We're sleeping in that room, yeah.
And are the kids showing any signs of respiratory illness or what have you? Because we're told that this is just not a very suitable sort of environment for anyone to be in, but particularly young lungs as they develop.
Yeah, my son was in hospital there not long ago. My second oldest. He was in hospital. He had to get stabilised. His oxygen levels were down, and he had to be rushed to the hospital. And then after that, then he got COVID. But before that, that's when he started to have problems with his breathing. That's when I brought him to the doctors. I knew something was wrong with him. The place was making him worse.
And this is a council property, and as you mentioned, you got onto the council. They said they can't even look at the situation until your fourth child is born. Was there any reason given for that, Mary?
She said that there's nothing more you can do, and I said to her, that's no good to me. What my kids is going through already, I just couldn't let my newborn go through it again.
And Mary, has they offered to come in and see what's causing the build-up of this harmful black mold?
No, I had those interviews where they just come in and look at the inspections. They're called.
Yeah.
The last one I had was about 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And what did they say? I mean, I presume it's got worse since then, but did they give any commentary on it as to whether they'd come out and fix it, address what the issues is? I'm not sure if it's single glazed, double glazed.
They haven't offered anything like that. No.
All right, stay with me. You mentioned you've spoken to Senator Eileen Flynn, who's with us now. Senator Flynn, I mean, this is not suitable for adults by the looks of it. Certainly not suitable for young children, and especially not suitable for children that are suffering with anything to do with their respiratory health.
Good morning, Greg. Can I just say, firstly, I'm working with at least 5 single parents here in Ardra to try to get them housed, and it's absolutely scandalous. I just want to say that homelessness is beyond Dublin, Cork and Limerick. Homelessness is very, very real here in Donegal. We may not see people on the streets being homeless, but people are couch surfing, living in overcrowding accommodation, both in many different backgrounds. Around Mary's case came to my attention last January. The public health nurse rang me, and she was very emotional, saying that Mary is due a new baby and that the 2 kids, they're living in literally one room. Now, I visited Mary's home, and I'm far from a local authority expert, far from it. Went into the house. The whole place is mildewed. It's damp. It's just not fit for purpose at all. Now, to be clear to your listeners, Mary is renting. She was rented that apartment 3 years ago, but it was in the cold weather when the mold started coming through the walls, and she's painted the apartment numerous times. I've written into the council, and with the support of Deputy Pringle as well, has also wrote into the council to trying to get Mary homes. It's not about Mary. I'm more concerned for the 3 children with a gas heating. I remember her a few months ago, the electricity went off in the house here in Ardra. My first thought was those 3 children in that apartment. When I first went to Mary's apartment, the youngest baby was 9 days old. I had Billy with me, and I got the shivers through my spine, thinking, oh my God. Now, Mary's landlord, fair play to her, has wrote to the council also. The council are taking no responsibility to home this woman. Now, we have many holiday homes in Donegal.
Just in relation to, because it can be quite confusing, why would the property owner contact the council? Is there not a responsibility here for the property owner, especially if they're receiving help, for they themselves to make this accommodation suitable to live in? Pardon my ignorance.
Well, of course, the landlord interacts with Mary, but her herself is saying it's not fit for purpose. It's a 2-bedroom apartment, and as Mary said, she has to use one of those rooms for storage.
Yeah.
The other room is where Mary and the 3 children are staying in. So the landlord said to me, after I contacted the council, the landlord was aware I was dealing with the case, and she got in contact, rightly so, saying that the house that Mary is in is not fit for purpose, the apartment. When Mary first moved into the apartment, as she said to me herself last night, it was like a dream. It looked absolutely fabulous. And then it was when the cold months start coming in. And the thing is, Greg, the landlord can take a responsibility, of course, but again, it's up to the council. It's a safety for these 3 children. It's a gas heater. The heating that Mary has in that apartment is not.
So the solution, Eileen, at this point is that the call is on the council to provide suitable council-owned accommodation to a mum with 3 young children and 1 on the way. Is that the call on the council today?
Oh God, yes. And I think it's important to say that, like, you are assigned and a liaison officer that works with individuals, and I'm not blaming that person. It's a system that we're all that you're going into working in the council, and it's just absolutely appalling. Like, they've got very little to no empathy for mothers. Now, as I said, I'm working with another mother at the moment in Ardra, and she was offered a 2-bedroom house along with 2 kids, 1 a girl, 1 a boy, and herself. Now that I just said to her, do not accept that. That's actually against the law, because you're meant to have different rooms for different children with different genders. Again, offering people just a short-term solution to a long-term problem. And even with Mary there, she wants to, if you want to say, be settled in a community where she can send her children to school, attend her children to hospital appointments, etc. Look at Greg. I met the people from Micah on Wednesday. I was angry enough on Wednesday when Darragh O'Brien wouldn't come out and meet the Micah group, outside of Leinster House. That made me angry. When I got that phone call from Mary on Thursday, Mary was told that she to contact the council after she has her 4th baby. I could bring you, with Mary's permission, to this home, and you would be the first to say it's now. Those photos are not even, doesn't even explain.
No, but I can imagine it. I've saw some of the. I can imagine how desperate it is, and I can also imagine what the heating arrangement must be to allow that type of growth inside. If you've got one gas heater drying the eyes out of you, but if you've got one gas heater in one particular room, you're going to get problems like that. There's absolutely no doubt about it. So, Mary, like, it must be very difficult for you, dealing in such a confined space with 3 children. We love our children, don't get me wrong, but there's an awful lot of work involved in keeping them occupied. But at the same time, too, you're pregnant, you're carrying another baby, and there's always hope, but it must be difficult for you, Mary, because it must seem like there is no hope inside. It must be very difficult for you.
Yes, it is. It's just, I'm very, very concerned for my 3 children, and I just hope to have a safe home soon.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, Mary, listen, thank you very much for helping us get the story out there. Senator Flynn, is there a particular problem in the Glentees electoral area in sort of trying to get attention to issues like this? I have heard that from elected representatives in the area, that sometimes it feels a little bit too far from Lifford. Is that fair to say, or is this a problem in every electoral area around the county?
Greg, it's not my, roles in TDs and councillors have different, we have different roles. And I have to say, without the support of Thomas Pringle, I would be just banging my head off a wall constantly to support people with, driveways, all that kind of stuff, homes, houses, and I'd know where to reach out to now. Thomas is really good at writing in letters with me, showing me where to go and ringing up people that he has long-term relationships with. But you're right, it is, it's that, like I see it and I'm like, oh my God, it's like, and it's different in Dublin, Greg. Like, as your listeners would know, I have like strong relationships in Dublin as well. Like here in Donegal, they have little to no services for people who are homeless. You know, like you could be an hour drive away to go to a homeless shelter if your child stays in school in Glenties. And again, like, it's just, we really need to highlight it between between people couch surfing, and especially, as you said, Greg, single parents.
There's an awful lot of people just on the brink of homelessness, and as I say, I'm trying to. I'm not campaigning; it's not my job, but I'm trying to highlight it because I get contacted by.
You know what I learned, Greg?
Terribly disparate
when
situations.
I was in. Sorry, I'll just say this before I go. Right, is when I went to Apollo House. Right, we all know about Apollo House. We took over the building in Dublin. Okay, I learned at a very young age that we are all, including you, including me, only 2-3 paychecks away from being homeless. And that's every single one of us.
Nowadays, though, it's one phone call from the landlord. But I take your point, Eileen. I do have to go. I appreciate your time. Mary, I really genuinely hope there is a solution to your issue as soon as is possible.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Make it a Christmas party to remember at Dunnes Stores with 20% off a fantastic range of wine and champagne. And mix and match 3 for 2 on over 100 party food options. Whether you want crispy tempura prawns, elf bao buns, or a selection of indulgent cheeses. Whatever you want from your Christmas shop, you'll find it in our aisles, fridges and freezers. Plus, you can save again at the till with a 10/50 grocery voucher. Make Christmas for everyone with Dunnes Stores. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher will be used in the next grocery shop of €50 or more. Voucher excludes alcohol. Please drink sensibly.
Tinny's Toys, your local toy store. Christmas Club is now open. Everything for newborn right up to model collectors. Leck Road, Letterkenny. Or shop online at tinnystoys.com. Did you know that we even give 5% cash back on all purchases when you sign up to our loyalty program? Tinny's Toys, much more than just farm toys. Leck Road, Letterkenny. Or shop online at tinnystoys.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Discover the ultimate escape at the Spa at Orchids, the Holyrood Hotel, Bundoran, nominated for Spa Experience of the Year 2024 by the Irish Hotel Awards. Indulge in an oriental bamboo massage, reflexology, or choose from our signature therapies, skin glowing facials and invigorating body treatments. Couples can unwind together in twin treatment rooms or share a peaceful moment in the secret garden with outdoor hot tub. The Spa at Orchids, open daily. To buy a gift voucher or reserve your appointment, visit holyroodhotel.com.
Thinking of getting a new car in 2025? Why not get one in 2026 as well? Buy a selected 251 Nissan and we'll replace it with a 261 Nissan for free. For details about this and all our 251 offers, contact your local Nissan dealer or visit nissan.ie. Nissan. Defy ordinary. Terms and conditions apply.
Discover Centra's Simple Savers, your go-to for great everyday value. Like McVitie's Victoria Biscuit Selection 550 gram, only €4. Pepsi and 7-Up 2 litre, $1.50 each plus deposit. And selected Las Maras Data Wine, only €8. Enjoy easy, simple prices weekly on your favourite products. Centra. Live every day. Enjoy alcohol sensibly.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Find the perfect present for everyone on your list this festive season. Discover the joy of gifting and make Christmas magical with McElhenny's Ballybuffet. Visit us in-store or online at mcelhennys.com.
So it's going to be a dry and bright day with spells of sunshine, feeling fresher with highs of 9 to 11 degrees and a light variable breeze. Okay, we've got so much more coming up for you in the next 2 hours of the 9 till noon show, but we are going to head to the news and obituary notices right now. Stay tuned.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Financial abuse is when people are dishonest in how they manage another person's money, property or benefits, particularly a person who may be at risk.
Surprisingly, a lot of financial abuse is carried out by people known to us. A family member, carer, neighbour, social welfare agent or worker. Prevent financial abuse by keeping in control of your money.
Learn more at safeguardingday.ie from Safeguarding Ireland, supported by the HSE.
Are you thinking about university? Then look no further than Atlantic Technological University. Come to our open day at ATU Donegal Letterkenny on Thursday 14th of November, where you can find out about our CAO, part-time, online and postgraduate programme offerings. Don't miss out on this chance to explore all that ATU has to offer. See you in ATU Donegal Letterkenny on Thursday 14th from 9:30 to 1pm. Register now at atu.ie/open days. ATU, your future is here.
Looking for your number one stop shop that's got it all? Then make John McNulty's convenience store and top oil service station in Stranraer, Donegal your number one destination. Whether you're topping up on petrol or diesel, stocking up on solid fuel or grabbing a delicious bite from their hot deli, John McNulty's has everything you need. Convenience, quality and service, all in one place. Because at John McNulty's, they put you first. Visit John McNulty's today, your number one choice.
Sheridan Security, now introducing Zero Wire Smart Alarm Systems. Zero wire, zero mess and a real peace of mind. With a simple press of a button, your alarm can be set or unset, or download the free app and control it from your phone. Call us today on 074 912 6025 and get your alarm from €299. Stay local, stay safe and protect what you value most with Sheridan Security Systems.
Are you ready to flip, tumble and soar over to Michael Murphy Sports to get your hands on the Kids Nastics Gym Range? The ultimate gift for the young gymnast in your family. Whether they're just starting or perfecting their routine, Kids Nastics has everything from wedge mats to balance beams in a range of vibrant colours and styles. See michaelmurphysports.ie.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. As part of his pre-election leaders tour, the Taoiseach is travelling to Donegal today. Simon Harris will visit Letterkenny this evening before making his way to Ballybofey and Stranraer. The Fine Gael leader is due to meet supporters outside the Hatched coffee shop in Letterkenny at around 5 o'clock this evening for a walkabout and canvass before travelling to Mace on Pound Street, Ballybofey, where he's due to begin a walkabout and canvass at 6 o'clock this evening. Meanwhile, Mr Harris has said teachers are the backbone of Irish society and Michael O'Leary should stick to running Ryanair. It's after Mr O'Leary said he would prefer less teachers and more accountants in government. He told Fine Gael candidate Peter Burke's weekend campaign event he wouldn't employ teachers to go out and get things done. Well, Joseph Higgins is the head of the TUI in Donegal. On this morning's 9 till noon show, he told Greg Hughes education has been underfunded for decades and by and large teachers are performing far beyond the resources at their disposal.
It's very easy to give out about a profession that's been underfunded by successive governments over decades. The OECD average spend of GDP in education is 5.7%. 5.7. In Ireland it's 2.8. And yet, if you look at how successful we are in terms of how we teach our students, Mr O'Leary's throwaway comment, you have 2 ears and one mouth. Sometimes you should listen twice as much as you speak.
However, the Ryanair boss believes his comment regarding teachers in the Dáil was perfectly correct. Michael O'Leary is this morning defending his view that there are too many teachers in the Dáil.
Why can't we get more business people to go into the Dáil, more computer engineers, more engineers? We have this archaic system where we needed a TD for every 30,000 people. I would have the number of TDs in the Dáil, but double their pay. And then I think you would encourage more talent, more people, more business people, more engineers, more computer scientists.
Tributes are being paid to a 29-year-old man from Castlederg who has died following a crash in Strabane yesterday morning. Owen Lynch was pronounced dead at the scene after the white Toyota Land Cruiser he was travelling in crashed in the Orchard Road area shortly before 20 to 8 yesterday morning. Police say they're continuing their inquiries in a bid to establish the circumstances surrounding the collision. They're urging anyone with information or dashcam footage to make contact. There are renewed calls for action to tackle the high volume of deer in Donegal. It's after 2 crashes in the county in recent days involving the animals, one in the Barnesmore Gap area, the other in Creasla. During the two collisions, around €10,000 worth of damage was caused. Councillor Michael McClafferty fears someone will be seriously injured or worse unless this issue is addressed. He says no one appears to be taking responsibility.
If it is a cow, a sheep, a horse, anything else, the landlord or the farmer will be responsible. But yet when you have deers running riot through the place, smashing vehicles, smashing fences, causing problems, causing mayhem, as I say, this incident of the weekend, early assessment, 10,000 at the moment, this is a serious matter. It has to be addressed just before somebody does get seriously hurt or worse.
Serious concerns have been raised over low water levels at Lough Columkill in Milford. The large water resource is currently the main water supply for Milford and surrounding areas. Councillor Declan Meehan fears the impact the depletion of Lough Columkill will have on water supplies in the coming months will be serious. He also fears for the ecological and environmental knock-on effect. He's urging Uisce Éireann to find alternative sources to provide water supplies in the area.
This is exactly why I'm highlighting it now in an effort to put pressure on Uisce Éireann in particular through the council to source alternative and complementary sources of water for this area. Too much has been asked of Lough Columkill currently, and again, if there isn't a plan to help replenish the water levels in Lough Columkill, whether that is replenished naturally or again to divert demand to other sources, then there will be serious knock-on effects into 2025.
With the forecast, any lingering mist or fog patches will clear during the morning, leaving a dry and bright day with spells of sunshine, feeling fresher with highest temperatures of 9 to 11 degrees Celsius. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Check all of today's news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notices for this Monday morning, November the 11th. The death has taken place of Shane Gillespie, Keenahan, Kilmacrennan and formerly of Brookfield, Donegal Town. Shane's remains will be reposing at his late residence from 7 o'clock this evening. Funeral from there on Wednesday morning at 10:30, going to St Agatha's Church, Clare, Donegal Town for 12 noon requiem mass, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Funeral mass can be viewed on mcn.live. The house is strictly private to family and close friends only, please. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of flowers to Kilmacrennan, Termon, Garton, Churchill and Trenta Community First Responders Group, care of any family member or Charlie McClafferty, Funeral Director. The death has occurred of Anne McKay, Castledew, St Johnston, County Donegal. Anne will be reposing at Kelly's funeral home, Oakfield Refoe, tomorrow from 2 o'clock until 6 o'clock. A service of thanksgiving will take place on Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock, afterwards travelling to Lakelands Crematorium, Cavan for private cremation. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Pet Rescue, care of any family member or Kelly's funeral directors. The death has occurred of Paddy Patrick Byrne, 26 Hawthorne Heights, Letterkenny, formerly Kilcar, reposing at his home today from 2 o'clock to 9 o'clock, concluding with Rosary at 9 o'clock. Funeral from there tomorrow morning, going to St Junan's Cathedral for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, which can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Burial afterwards in Cornwall Cemetery. Family flowers only. Donations in lieu if wished to the Donegal Hospice, care of Pascal Blake, Funeral Director or any family member. Family time on the morning of the funeral, please. The death has occurred of Maureen Kelly, née McLaughlin, Creeslaw Beg, Creeslaw. Her remains are reposing at the home of her son Liam and daughter-in-law Anne-Marie Kelly in Creeslaw Beg today from 1 o'clock until 10 o'clock. Family time at all other times, please. Funeral Mass in St Michael's Church, Creeslaw tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. Burial afterwards in Doe Graveyard. Mass can be viewed live on MCN Media. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Lake House Nursing Home, Port Nabla, care of any family member or James Harkin, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Sean Kelly, Churchtown, Carndonagh. Sean will leave Kelly's funeral home, Station Road, Carndonagh, this afternoon at 2 o'clock, going to his late residence, Churchtown, Carndonagh. Funeral from there on Wednesday morning at 10:20 to the Sacred Heart Church, Carndonagh for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only. The death has taken place of Kathleen Harkin, Leitrim, Glenealy. Kathleen's remains are reposing at her sister Anne Fletcher's residence, 21 Knockalla Drive, Buncrana. Removal from there at 9:30 tomorrow morning, going to St Mary's Church, Bogan Culdaff for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass with burial in the adjoining cemetery. Strictly private from 10 o'clock tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. The death has occurred of Angela Stafford, Drumna Cross, Kilrain. Funeral from Chauvelin's Funeral Home, Sandfield, this morning at 10 o'clock, going to Lakelands Crematorium, County Cavan for cremation service at 1 o'clock. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Dunlow Community, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Donald Doherty, Eddie, Churchtown, Carndonagh, reposing at Carl's Home, Churchtown, Carndonagh. A religious service in celebration of Donald's life will take place at Carl's Home this morning at 11 o'clock, where all are welcome, followed by removal to Lakelands Crematorium, Cavan for private cremation. Family flowers only, please. The death has occurred of James McClintock at Swilly Valley, Ballindrate. Funeral prayers at Terence McClintock's funeral home this afternoon at 1 o'clock, followed by interment in the family plot in Ballindrate Presbyterian Church Graveyard. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu to St Junan's Nursing Home, care of any family member or Terence McClintock, funeral director. And the death has occurred of Rosaline McNeilis, née Diver, Dorian Glenty's Frosses. House private, please. Funeral mass this morning at 11 o'clock at St Connell's Church, Glenty's, with burial afterwards in the local cemetery. Funeral mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Not a creature was stirring, not even a... Merry Christmas!
How long to cook a £20 turkey?
Oh, God. Everyone, smile!
Sean, smile!
Join us at 3 and capture the chaos of Christmas with the super fast, super smart iPhone 16. Now €99 on 3 bill pay. Subject to bringing your number to 3's Freedom 5G plan. Direct debit and 24-month minimum term required. Come in store or c3.ie.
Next year, we're going abroad.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Monday, the 11th of November. You're playing for the daily prize of €600 on the green sheet. The reference number is S6. It's game number 46. The numbers are 71, 23, 3, 75, 20, 11, 78, 63, 89, and finally 88. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Don't book your new 251 car until you experience and test drive one of the new award-winning Dacia models now at Highland Motors. There's fantastic offers during the Dacia 251 sales event, including 0% finance this Thursday, Friday and Saturday, the 14th, 15th and 16th, with a model to suit everyone. So why not pop in for a test drive? See the all-new fully redesigned Dacia Duster, now here, and be prepared to be surprised with brilliant offers and brilliant cars this weekend at Highland Motors, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
At Uisce Éireann, we're continuing to upgrade Ireland's water network to ensure a clean, safe and reliable water supply. When repair and maintenance work is required in your area, we want to make sure homes and businesses are informed. That's why we have a new free text alert service providing real-time updates for issues lasting more than 4 hours. Sign up with your mobile number and air code at water.ie. Uisce Éireann, delivering water services for Ireland.
You could win €10,000 with Top. Every month for the rest of the year, your petrol, diesel or in-store purchases of €15 or more gives you a chance to win €10,000. Sign up and enter at topoilwin.ie.
Plan the perfect weekend escape from Donegal to Glasgow with Loganair. Enjoy convenient flights every Friday and Sunday with a complimentary 15 kg check-in bag. Experience hassle-free travel and book your getaway now at loganair.co.uk.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Okay, we'll get to your comments as they're coming in very shortly. But first, I want to say good morning to Ian Harkin, chairperson of Finn Harps Football Club. Good morning to you, Ian. Thanks for your time.
Good morning, Greg. Thanks for having me on.
Before we get to this latest drive, I suppose, what is the current sort of financial status stroke viability of Finn Harps?
Yeah, I suppose, Greg, I've been on the board, joined the board 3 years ago. And I suppose coming from having run my own business, coming into Finn Harps, one of the things that the biggest challenge that we have as a football club is sustainability. When we start the season, about 20% of our revenue for the year is secured at the beginning of the year. And that comes from, we've got a 500 club, we've got our lotto that we run, and then we've got season tickets and sponsorship. And to run your club at the beginning of the year, when you've only got about 20% of it committed, it's a very, very difficult business model, because then the variables that you've got throughout the year, not just your performance on the pitch, but things like weather. This year as well, we've had challenges with our floodlights, and we've had to change fixtures because of things that happened in other clubs. So it's a very precarious business model. And what we're trying to do right now with our share launch this evening is to flatten out a lot of that, those variables, and to try and bring in revenue that will help us invest into our club, not just in terms of, the infrastructure plan that we've got, but also in terms of the operational side of our business, because it is a huge undertaking. From the board members ourselves, it's very much a volunteer-led business, and we want to change that and make some key hires to help drive the business model itself. In terms of the actual position of our club at the moment, we're actually reasonably good in terms of our positioning at the moment. We've got some challenges, but there's future revenue coming in that hasn't yet been received. So,
but also too, I mean, you don't want to tread water either, and it's a results-based business. And if the club is on a good financial standing, then you can maybe free up resources to get the results on the pitch. Because we've seen recently, say for instance, getting into Europe, win a game 400k into the bank. I mean, you do cartwheels down Ballybofey Main Street for that, I'm sure. Do you know what I mean? So it's having the club itself as a business on steady foundations, and then hopefully that paves the way for delivery on the pitch, which really can be a key revenue source too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I say we're in a good financial position at the moment, I'm saying that in comparison to most other clubs, not just in Ireland but worldwide. Like, we as directors have a fiduciary duty to be able to, to stand above our numbers, and it is extremely challenging every year to make numbers meet. There's no hiding that, and a lot of our revenue is received at the year end as well. So it's the prize givings, the TV money, and we're waiting on that still to come, even though the season has ended. But so what we're trying to do, a couple of years ago, we made a decision to invest in our own, to develop our own players in Donegal, and to there's a multiple different revenue streams that you can have within a business, and it's something that we've never really had is revenue from the sale of players. So what we've been doing is developing our own, giving them a chance. And, in the recent number of months, we've had 3 or 4 players being not just heading over to England, but actually heading to Premier League clubs as well. So it's not something we've had for a long time. And in fairness to our current manager as well, it's a huge risk putting in young kids, because you're measured on results, and you're not going to see the results, by playing young kids at senior football. And in fairness as well to the fans, they've bought into that as well. So we hope to be able to invest more into developing our own and developing that income stream as well, and providing that pathway critically as well to kids from Donegal to be able to excel, in their chosen sport going forward. And hopefully then that money that you develop and you gain from it, you can invest into your team and start pushing for promotion and getting into Europe, and not just getting into Europe, but actually there's a change recently in one of the revenue streams that I mentioned that we'll be receiving towards the end of this year is a solidarity money that you receive from UEFA. And historically, we've been receiving 75 grand a year, and it's the biggest chunk of money that you receive from all of your income streams from participating. And we are now being told that is going to be cut possibly completely. We're at the mercy really of the Premier League clubs. They have within their right to give us 15% of it, which would mean we'll receive about 45 grand, but they'll be receiving up to 400 grand. So the difference between the Premier League now and the First Division is massive, and it's going to get much greater, because that 400 grand, you can get match financing for a lot of things. So it'll have a multiplier effect.
But before we talk about the specific initiative that we've invited you on to talk about, though, I mean, what's the future of football as a whole? Because clubs are losing money, lots of money.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's absorbed by private investors for however long they might want to do that, or whatever the motivation might be for that. But we could find ourselves in a situation, if we're not there already, that you've 1 or 2 big clubs that do very well, but they end up sort of drawing all the money to them, because success brings in money, and money brings in better players, and so on and so forth. And then you get the odd club that will break through here and there. But the further you go down the Premier Division and into the First Division, the wider the gap becomes. So is there anything that needs to be done to put football in this country on a more steady, sustainable footing? Because we are seeing really big numbers of people coming out to watch the sport, right? But is that doesn't seem to be transferring into a product that's getting more resilient to all the costs and overheads and stuff that you've been talking of?
Yeah, I suppose when you're talking about governance and that side of things, Germany is probably the best model that you can look at, and all clubs in Germany are 50% fan owned and 50% private. So that's the model probably that has inspired us the most. I mean, in Ireland, Shamrock Rovers are the closest to that, and then Bohemians then would be 100% fan owned. The move that we're doing this evening is going that fan-owned model, and it is we've talked about seeking investment over the last number of years, and we've been approached by a number of different people, but it never really stacked up. A lot of it would have been people coming in and looking at asset plays and trying to make money out of it in different ways, but rather the only real way that you'll get somebody that has the interests of the county and the football club at heart is if they're from Donegal, or if they've got some sort of emotional tie to Donegal. And those would be the people that we would appeal out to the most, if they are interested in investing. There are different ways that we can accommodate that.
Yeah, and of course, Finn Harps now has developed, in terms of women's participation in the sport, have 2 women's teams that are active, but also to the underage efforts, to bring these players through. And I know what you're saying about developing young players and then maybe selling them on, and you can put them in the shop window for that. But if you get really good at that, it's almost like you can almost have it like an academy buzz to it, but you sustain, 8 players all the time or 7 players all the time, and then the 3 spaces whereby you're developing players as well, because you don't want to empty the locker room every year either. But that all comes with a steady footing again. So this talk to me about this plan then to move towards fan ownership and how it starts tonight and what it looks like.
Yeah, I suppose like you're looking at the reason why, and to me, football should be about the fans. It's about community. It's about belonging to something, and also then having that influence yourself as a shareholder, that you can vote, you can appoint people to the board, you can help steer decisions for your fan-owned club, as opposed to a sovereign wealth fund that is doing it for different sports washing reasons, or billionaires that are just, it's a plaything to them. To me, this is what football is all about. It's about community. Like historically, if you're looking at a football club, it's you're thinking excellence in sporting excellence, and it's all first team driven. Our club is more than just the first team. It is, as you say, it's what we do with the women's teams. It's our we currently have different camps for people with neurodiversity, people with Down syndrome. We've got our futsal team, a mixed futsal team as well, which has won the All-Ireland Championship twice this year. We have a schools program as well, so where we go out into schools and we have schools competitions. We have educational elements where we've got the Show Racism the Red Card, where we're teaching kids in school about the different social policies that matter to us. It's about inclusion. We've got a number of new citizens as well involved in the club on a voluntary basis as well. So our club is about our community, and it's about helping people feel belonging to something.
And I suppose if you have a sense of ownership to it, increases your passion and commitment. So for €25 per year, what do you get?
Yeah, so in that first year of acquisition, you're getting your share. So from that point forward, you will be allowed to vote as long as you keep up your annual membership. So going forward, your membership will be €25 per year, and it allows you to participate in voting, to attend the general meetings, and it will also, there'll be a number of other benefits as well that we'll list, which includes, reductions on your season ticket, and also you will also get the match program as well, digitally. So yeah, there'll be a number of different benefits.
Yeah. So how big do you think the sign-up would be? Like, I'm thinking if 3,000 people took up this offer, that matches, albeit there's no certainty in the future of it, that matches the biggest single income the club has. 3,000 is it's not a huge figure for a population of 170 odd thousand.
No, you see,
I'm not setting a 3,000 target, by the way, just in case I don't want to.
No.
I'm just saying how valuable this could be with a relatively low sign-up.
Yeah, so like how we've priced it, we've looked at it, and we've done several meetings with our fan base, and we initially had it closer to €200, where at that point you're really only looking at your existing fan base and your hardcore fan base as well. So we're already asking them for money for our 500 club and our lottos and our season tickets and everything else, and I lived in London for 15 years, and you network with the Donegal community there, and everybody checks the results every weekend. It doesn't matter if you've never been to a match ever, and there's a lot of people who will say they're die-in-the-wool GAA fans as well, and they may never go to Finn Park, but they do check the results, and they do have an affinity, and they do realise that we are part of Donegal. Whether they never come to a game or not is another one. But what we would like to do is reach out to those people, and we would like to say, look, we are your club, and we want to open our doors to everybody, so that we're not just a Ballybofey-centric club. We are a Donegal club, and we represent all of the people in Donegal and the greater Northwest as well, because we have a huge following as well from Castlederg and Strabane as well, just over the border. And they are a huge part of our club.
Yeah. I know it's a ridiculous question, right?
Yeah.
But when you talk about branding and you're in the business, the business of it, I mean, obviously there would be a huge resistance because of the history and all that. But has there ever been a conversation to rename the club Donegal FC or something along those lines?
Yeah, I mean, it has been mentioned a number of times, and we have experimented with the colours as well. But I suppose there are a lot of traditionalists in our club, they do have a heavy voice on it. But look, I think we've got a lot of other challenges with regards to the stadium and just the sustainability of our club going forward. That we're prioritising other.
Right, okay, it's not high on the agenda at the moment. So, I mean, obviously the Christmas presents and all that kind of stuff sounds like a nice idea. You can effectively buy someone a share in a club, not so bad. But if someone says, right, I want to go to €100 per year, does that mean they get full shares? And is there any advantage to that?
Well, they can buy for other family members. There's also in the coming weeks as well, we'll be focusing a little bit more on our stadium as well, and there will be donations that the people can make towards the stadium. So on the 21st of November, we'll be lodging our planning application for the stadium. So the huge amount of work that's going on.
It's a toughie for you, isn't it? Because I think and sort of getting from your own tone is that you just don't want to keep going back to the same well.
Yeah.
Everything seems to go back to call on that couple of thousand loyal supporters, and they are loyal. It's about sort of saying, well, fair play and do what you can do, but why not get on this journey with us if you haven't necessarily supported or backed Finn Harps in the past?
Yeah, I mean, like we're going to be building a 5.5, 6,000 seater stadium, and we got to fill it somehow with people from somewhere. So there are people out there, and I know that when we've always said, build it and they will come, but we need people engaging now. We need people to take them on the journey towards being fans and show them like what a match night experience is. Like coming to Finn Park, it on a Friday night, it's a big occasion for a lot of people. You're networking with friends, you're supporting the players from your county now. There's a huge influence of Donegal players in our team. And hopefully, as we continue our academy development as well and eventually as well build our centre of excellence, that there will be a lot more players coming through.
You talked about finally, Ian, you talked about the stadium a couple of times. They're planning. What is the actual situation? A number of people want to know as it relates to the funding of that stadium.
Yeah, so in terms of the funding for that stadium, we've got a budget of around 8 million. And the element that we've got to fund ourselves is about 2 million quid. So we, as a club, have decided that we're going to debt finance that. So we are going to acquire the land off the council in Stranorlar, and we will then mortgage against that initially. And then we will look to fundraise and pay off that debt over time.
Do you need an underwriter for that, or is the
well, we'll be able to asset back it against the stadium itself.
Okay.
Yeah, so there'll be like the stadium itself will have it's currently the valuation of the work that's currently done. The shell that's there, around 2 million has been spent on it to date. That, yeah. And there'll be another 8 million spent.
So the money effectively is in place. The plan is in place for that stadium to go ahead once planning permission is secured.
Yeah.
Okay. And finally, okay, that's encouraging because there could be other revenue streams come from that. Who's to say? It's going to be quite
we still
amazing
will have
facility.
Debt finance to pay off, and we're speaking with the trustees of Finn Park as well about how we post. It won't happen until it's finished, but ideally we would like them to be the owners of the new stadium as well. So
okay.
There will be a swap.
Right, more on finnharps.ie, whether you are a local. I know myself from going over to those London vintage shows. You bump into Kevin McHugh over there now and again, but there's a big network of people with a great interest in Finn Harps, and I know you want to tap into them, and a lot of them are loaded over there. But also, too, might be other supporters around Europe who have seen how that model works in Germany and might want to have some sort of an input or to support the genuine grassroots of the game. Finnharps.ie, is that the place to go?
Yeah, it should be live by lunchtime today, so
good stuff. All right, we'll
yeah.
share that link out on our socials as well. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time, Ian. Take care of yourself.
Thanks very
much. All
right,
bye-bye. Take care. Ian Harkin there, who is chair of Finn Harps Football Club.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Seasonal loans now available for Christmas. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Farmers, don't miss the Inishowen Co-op Agri event on Thursday, November 14th at 6 p.m. at the Gateway Hotel, Buncrana. Hear from experts Aidan Brennan and Adam Woods from the Farmers Journal, Eva Ross from Yarra Fertilisers, and Marie McGlynn from Chanel on milk supply, beef markets, crop nutrition, and sheep health. The first 30 guests receive a free body warmer. Enjoy refreshments and a prize draw. Connect and network with local farmers. Open to everyone. That's this Thursday at the Inishowen Gateway Hotel at 6 p.m.
With more routes nationwide, your TFI Local Link bus service provides connection to the wider Transport for Ireland public transport network. Save up to 30% when you use your TFI Leap card on TFI Local Link services. For route and timetable information, visit transportforireland.ie. We're Transport for Ireland. We're transport for you.
At AXA, blocked drains and burst pipes don't worry us. And the kids? Well, let them be kids. From the little accidents to life's bigger problems, these things happen. But with AXA Home Insurance, our 24/7 emergency home assistance will have a fully qualified tradesperson with you quick. Together, we've got this. AXA. Know you can. Policy terms and conditions apply. AXA Insurance DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Imagine a wedding venue that can be hired exclusively for you and your guests. Picture stunning views overlooking one of Donegal's most scenic beaches, an authentic country manor as your accommodation, incredible glass-fronted marquee views all day, and a team of experts who want to help you plan every step of the way. Sounds too good to be true? Not at Drumhalla House in Rathmullen. It really has to be seen to be believed. Visit drumhallahouse.ie or check out Drumhalla House on Instagram for more details.
Don't miss the Highland Radio Christmas concert on Monday the 9th of December in the Mount Errigal Hotel, Letterkenny. Tickets are just €27.50 each and are available at Highland Radio and ticket outlets including the Mount Errigal Hotel, Simpsons Bar, Carndonagh, the Cope Dunlow and Alexander's Ballybuffet. Or contact us today on 074 91 25000 or visit the outlet at highlandradio.com for details on our package deals.
All right, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show, and we're joined by Pamela Malloy. Are you there, Pamela?
Hi, Greg. Yes, I'm here with Bernadine and my sister Maria down in the Dolman Centre.
How are you all getting on?
Oh, good. Good morning.
Very
to
good.
you. Good morning, Greg.
And is Rachel Hughes there?
I am indeed, yeah. How's it going?
I'm getting on great, Rachel. How are you keeping?
Great, not a bother. Excited to get up to Donegal tomorrow.
All right, you're co-founder and managing director of Sisters Sheds. Talk to me about the initiative. Is this a female version of Men's Sheds?
It is, yeah. It's kind of, it stemmed from something like that, you know. Myself and my cousin co-founded 3 years ago. We were just coming out of COVID, and Shireen, the CEO and the other co-founder, she had gone through a bit of trauma in her life and stuff like that, and then we rolled into COVID and the whole world was on lockdown, and the two of us got talking. I'm a hairdresser, and we were in the hairdressers one day, and I think some of the best conversations can occur in the hairdressers, if you would agree with me. And we were saying we would like to just create these spaces for women of all ages to be able to come and meet up with one another. The Men's Sheds kind of are specifically for men of a certain age, and it can happen like
I know
5
it's a
days
problem.
week.
I'm starting to get invited to them now, and I'm like, lads, I'm not there yet.
So yeah, we just kind of we came up with this idea. We both come from very holistic backgrounds. So we didn't know what we were doing, if I'm being honest with you. We just said we wanted a space for women to come. Something that I had found during lockdown was that community connection had came back massively. I mean, we were having a great time. If we weren't playing bingo in the garden, we were baking for each other, obviously keeping our social distance and stuff. But that was something that really, you know, resonated with me. I said, God, it took me back to the 80s when my own mother was a part of a women's club, and there was just great community connection. So yeah, we had this chat on a Wednesday, and by the Friday we had our first sister shed open in Dublin, and it just grew arms and legs.
And I suppose it evolves to people's needs. What has it become, Rachel?
So, like I said, when we first started it, it was just a hub to be able to come. When I say a hub, people say, are you actually in sheds? We're not. We go to local community centres, youth centres. Actually, at the very first sister shed, I rented a space in a hairdresser's because, you know, we were just wanted to keep the momentum up. People were really interested and we didn't want it to fall down. So, yeah, local community centres and youth centres and wherever we can kind of get venues. So when we first set it up, it was just a cup of tea and a chat and for women to be able to connect of all ages. And then a couple of weeks into it, we knew the ladies were either going to get, you know, fed up with us talking all the time. They needed something. So we said, right, look, because of who we are and the connections that we have and stuff like that, we've great people around us that kind of do Reiki and holisticness, meditations and stuff. So we start kind of introducing that. Then roll forward another couple of months, you're talking 12, 15 sheds in. We were actually invited into Leinster House by Senator. Yeah. So yeah, we were found ourselves sitting in Leinster House, just two Joe Soaps, and we actually spoke with the now Taoiseach Simon Harris, and we knew then that things were getting a little bit bigger than just myself and Shireen. The want for sister sheds was all over the country, so we started going the right road. Then we registered it as a non-profit. We applied for charitable status. We brought on people then to be on the board of management and just to give us a bit of a dig out with it, you know. So now Sister Sheds is a registered charity in Ireland. We received that charitable status last December, which we're very, very proud of. There's 27, soon to be 28 Sister Sheds around Ireland, and they are now classed as a lifeline for women. If they're not doing personal development, we've actually had women that have returned back to the workforce after doing confidence building programs, and they've been able to return back to work. So
you can really see, especially intergenerational, you know, you can really see whereby, because not everyone has either sisters or a close relationship with their sisters or the mum or their auntie, you know.
We say when women come together, amazing things can happen. Now, we're not feminist or we're not anything like that, you know, but it is absolutely amazing. And like that, the difference that we would, because we know women's sheds and they do absolutely fantastic work all around the country also, but they are standalone individual, whereas sister sheds, we're the main umbrella of the charity and all the groups that come off us are just branches off the tree. So basically you could get, you know, you'll see the women now up in Donegal. Hopefully they'll come down to Dublin. They meet with the Dublin women and it's just one big collective then. And our youngest is 25, 26 in one group. And then we have a member that's 97. So it's the younger learning off the more senior and the senior learning off the more younger. And it's just absolutely amazing.
Right, Rachel. So you're the co-founder and managing director of Sister Sheds.
I am.
Sorry, Rachel, I beg your pardon. Pamela Malloy is part of the Sister Sheds in Portneuf. Pamela, so why Donegal? What did you see that said, right, we can have a branch up here?
Well, the first time I heard about the Sister Sheds was when I seen the girls, Greg, on Ireland AM. They were being interviewed by Derek live from one of the sheds, and I just thought the whole concept would be an amazing asset down here for the women of Rossbeg, Portneuf, and the Down Strands area. You know, everything that Rachel said, the coming together, you know, even from the youngest to the oldest, like all the age groups that it appeals to. And we're really excited and looking forward. There's lovely buzz about the area.
Yeah, and you've seen what's worked, right? So initially, it's established in the Dolman Centre in Portneuf. It is a case in the first instance to just come in and network, have a chat, cup of tea, and then take it from there.
Yeah. So basically, on the first meeting, myself, Shireen, and one of our board members will be travelling up to the lovely Donegal tomorrow. We'll give a real insight of, what way the Sister Shed goes. Your first couple of weeks, though, I know, just to be very aware, because women that look on our social media and on our website and stuff, they see all of what's going on, whether it's personal development, arts and crafts. Like there's an array of a list of what the women get up to. They're absolutely brilliant. But them first couple of weeks is baby steps. It's very important that the women get to know each other, that they get to feel comfortable with one another, because there's no way that if you're in a room with 20 women that you're going to feel confident and comfortable enough to open yourself up in a personal development course or a mental health course or whatever it might be. So them first couple of weeks are crucial, just with the cup of tea and a chat. But what you will find is in a group full of women, up to 10, 20 women or whatever the group size might be, then women have many, many talents. So before you know it, they could be having a crochet evening, an arts and crafts evening. So that's the way the Sister Sheds roll in the first couple of weeks. Now, since being a charity and that we're more structured and we're governance now and stuff like that, we've had to employ kind of couple of rules. We don't like to say rules because it's not school, but it's just, you have to have a little bit of structure for things to run steadily. So there is a membership fee, a yearly membership fee of €42.50. That gives you your place in the Sister Sheds, gives your affiliation to the charity, but it also covers your insurance. But there's a 4-week grace period. So any person that's joining a Sister Shed anywhere in the country, they have 4 weeks to go and get a feel for it and see if it's something that they want to sign up for then.
Pamela, who's the ladies beside you? I don't have their names.
So this is Bernadine. Bernadine works here in the Dolman Resource Centre, and is my sister Maria.
All right, Maria. Bernadine, this is another great string to the Dolman Centre's bow. It's going to be really popular, I think, and great to have that local resource there to be able to host something like this.
Oh, absolutely, Greg. It's a great facility to have here in the area, and it's bringing the community of Downstrand's women together. It's a place where they can confide in each other, and they can learn so many different tasks, like from DIY classes to mental health classes to, simple things, Greg, where we could get a facilitator in, I suppose as a man would say, they don't know how to change a tire, or, simple things like that, where it can give us the confidence as women to learn all that. And so it's great to have it, and fair play to Pamela for coming across it, and she approached us here in the Dolman Centre to run it. So we're delighted to have the girls down now tomorrow night, and hopefully it'll be a great evening.
Pamela, what's the interest been like so far? Because the one thing I've noticed in doing lots of these different interviews, and it's all across the county, I'm thinking of a DIY class that was advertised in and shown specifically for women, and it was like oversubscribed in the case of half an hour. There seems to be a massive demand for events or initiatives, particularly for women. I'm not saying this is what you're doing, right? But like once words got out, I presume there's been a lot of interest from women in the area.
Yeah, there has been a lot of inquiries, and a lot of people have quietly said to me, looking forward to coming on Tuesday night. So that's been lovely, and we really hope that the girls are supported in the initiative. We give them a good Donegal welcome tomorrow here at the Dolman Centre, with a cup of tea and the chat to kick it all off. If people are a wee bit nervous or wondering, as Rachel said, it's all about the cup of tea and the chat to start off. And
so important.
Yeah, and bring in the plumbing courses and maybe electrician courses seem to be in hot demand around here.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. But it's nice to be fit to do stuff for yourself, and it's just literally having the knowledge to do so. Another thing too, Rachel, don't want to get serious on this, but one thing again that I've seen happens with initiatives in the past. This is the obvious stuff that happens, and then there's the other stuff whereby women that need support, or if there's something. Now, they're not walking in the door and saying, "Hi, my name's Greg and this is happening in my life," right? But
you'd be very surprised, Greg. Okay, we've actually been told we're like AA meetings.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
We'll always give the woman a clap, a bit of encouragement, because like we always say, both through life's journeys and experience that myself and Shireen have, we don't know what it's after taking for that woman to walk through that door. Nobody knows what goes on behind closed doors. And we will always say, like, one of our ethos and one of our core values in Sister Sheds is you leave your ego at the door. And thanks be to God, we're 28 sheds in now, and we've had absolutely nothing. Like, there's been nothing. The women are there for the same reason. They're all there to make that connection. And some have amazing stories, some have really sad stories, but it's the stories that they learn off each other that, you know, they're getting the experience as well. But like that, it's not all rosy and sister sheds. And why it's so great for us being the charity that we are and the link-ins that we have, we will always say to the women, if someone needs an additional, you know, help out with something, always reach out to myself and Shireen privately. Sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming in a big setting like that to say, listen, I'm having an issue with this, and we will be able to link in with counsellors or whatever it might be that woman needs. We'll go above and beyond to be able to get that woman the additional help that she might need, you know?
Because particularly in this part of the world too, rural isolation is a big issue, and it crosses...
That was, you know, that was one of the big things, like when you look back at COVID, and it was a terrible time for people, like we had no choice but to go into isolation. We were put into isolation, and that played havoc with my mental health. But I came out the other end of it because I was like, do you know what? It shows that connection is there. People can get really wrapped up in everyday life, going to work, school runs and stuff like that. I mean, I had neighbours across the road for 6 years. I didn't know their names, but during COVID, we got to know each other because we had that time to kind of, you know, talk to one another and stuff like that.
I think things like this are re-establishing community and community 100%. Support, you know, because we did go backwards to a great extent. Pamela, what's the crack with the launch tomorrow evening? Is there an open invitation? Are you limited on space? Invite only? What's the crack?
Well, no, we have a good hall here given to us by the Dolman Centre tomorrow evening at 6:15. So come along, cup of tea and a chat, meet the girls who've come travelling all the way from Dublin.
We're only too delighted.
I think I heard that Rachel has been to Donegal before, but I'm not too sure about Serene. So,
yeah, it's been a long time ago, Pam. We'll be on Google Maps tomorrow going, oh God, pray for us. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
And I think too, hey, listen, if maybe the other half's listening, and sometimes we need a little bit of a push to sort of go along to things like this, and that sort of outlet and an opportunity for personal growth benefits everyone. So yeah, I mean, obviously women listening, right, that's for me, but you know, no harm in the lads saying, why don't you head off, I'll look after the kids, you head off and see what you think of that.
Because it's so important to realise as women, like, and that's something we always say, we take on them roles just initially, like, you know, the mammy, the school run, the dinners, the wife, the cooking, the cleaning. It's very important to give yourself them couple of hours a week. And, you know, you do find now the men, the husbands are saying, he is off to his cult now, the sister chef, you know, but it's absolutely fantastic.
I'm just trying to work it out with I'm trying to work it out with the football. What night is meeting? What night?
They'll be giving us the codes.
If you could do it Tuesday, Wednesday nights. Ladies, listen, best of luck with it. We'd love to get an update from you, Pam, down the line to see how it went. I know it's going to be a success because it's grown so quickly. Take care of yourselves. Lovely to meet all of you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. Thanks a million. See you tomorrow, Pam.
Rachel Slan, thank you so much for joining us. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye. All right, okay. That was Pamela, Rachel, Bernadette, and Pamela's sister. It's just hard to keep track of all the names because they weren't written down for me. Right, let's take a break. Back with the weather, and we'll get to some of your comments as they're coming in.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Attention shoppers! Cope Food Stores in Dunlow, Falcarra and Annagray are slashing prices like never before. Save big on your weekly shop with our largest ever price reductions. Hurry in and save today at the Cope Food Stores.
At Hidden Hearing right now, get up to €2,000 off state-of-the-art hearing aids, even if you don't qualify for PRSI. Visit hiddenhearing.ie today. T's and C's apply.
What if you could send a free chocolate bar in secret to someone special? Just to, you know, give them a little lift. With the Cadbury Secret Santa Postal Service, you can send free chocolate secretly from a poster. They're popping up all over the country, from great big cities to quaint little towns. Look out for a poster near you or search Cadbury Secret Santa to find out more. 18 plus, free service on selected products while stocks last until December the 24th. For full terms and conditions, visit cadbury.ie.
Make it a Christmas party to remember at Dunnes Stores with 20% off a fantastic range of wine and champagne. And mix and match 3 for 2 on over 100 party food options. Whether you want crispy tempura prawns, elf bao buns or a selection of indulgent cheeses, Whatever you want from your Christmas shop, you'll find it in our aisles, fridges and freezers. Plus, you can save again at the till with a 10/50 grocery voucher. Make Christmas for everyone with Dunnes Stores. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used in the next grocery shop of €50 or more. Voucher excludes alcohol. Please drink sensibly.
There's bingo every Monday night at Halfway House Burnfoot. Doors open at 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. €2,500 must go. The snowball is €2,850 on 45 numbers or less. If you're not in, you can't win. That's Halfway House Bingo tonight at 8:30.
With MasterCard Priceless Experiences, the possibilities are endless. You could be front row, screaming every lyric, or lost for words at the final act. Shh, sorry. Discovering new destinations, or a land of mouth-watering flavours. So if you're a MasterCard cardholder, register at priceless.com to unlock a world of priceless experiences, from exclusive dining events to historic tours. One place, endless possibilities. Priceless.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Find the perfect present for everyone on your list this festive season. Discover the joy of gifting and make Christmas magical with McElhenny's Ballybuffet. Visit us in-store or online at mcelhennys.com.
So, it's going to be a dry and bright day with spells of sunshine, feeling fresher with highs of 9 to 11 degrees and light variable breezes. So fresher means colder, right? Is that what that means? Because I never really associated the word fresher meaning colder. Like a nice fresh day. I didn't in my head think cold, but that seems to be what the word Matern is using. It's going to be like that all week for the most part. So there you go. 16 years after the first sod was turned and still no stadium in Stranraer. We got an update there directly from Ian Harkin. Planning's going in and it seems the funding's in place. Greg, you talked about letters and contacts you received about people in a housing emergency. Can you forward them to Simon Harris's office? I mean... could I mean, that would be me campaigning on behalf of them. I could use this show to give people an opportunity to express what's happening in their lives. I could encourage them to do so. Maybe I will. But as I say, it's just so much heartache and worry out there from families who are being told the house is going up for sale. My son's moving back from England or Australia or wherever it might be, or my daughter, you know what I mean? I'm just picking random examples out of my head. And just in the run up to Christmas, you've got, families with 2, 3, no kids, but 2 or 3 kids, and there's nowhere out there for them to go. They might be paying, if they're lucky enough, €800 or €900, and they're looking at knowing, well, what's out there in the market available for me? €1,300, €1,400. Where are you going to find €500 or €600 extra a month if you're already scraping by? Really worrying for people. It really is, and it's something that bothers me greatly that people are in that situation. A caller says, I love how all these Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael candidates claim what they're going to do for us, yet they've been in power for about 10 years. Why wasn't all these things achieved in that time? And I mean, people, just an observation. There was an awful lot of talk in the run up to the budget about reducing the VAT rate for food-led businesses and what have you, and they just couldn't get it over the line. But now we have Fine Gael committing to, and they're going to do well with it because it's a big deal for businesses. They're committing, I think, to reduce VAT rates in those areas down to 11% in the first 100 days of government. That's a nice offer, and people might go, right, I'm going to go for that. But others will say, well, you could have done that over the last 10, 12, 15 years. Do you know what I mean? Is Michael O'Leary, CEO of Ryanair, really endorsing Fine Gael? If so, it says a lot, as his interests are, in my opinion, making rich people richer. Was he having a laugh at teachers? There was some laughter in the room, as on the video. Teaching is not an easy profession, especially nowadays. Will this backfire on Fine Gael, I wonder? For a day or two. The news cycle moves on very, very quickly. Enoch Burke says a caller's in jail because he's defending the right to free speech, and by him agreeing to purchase contempt of court would mean that he is accepting that the school was right in sacking him for not agreeing to recognise and accept transgenderism. And well, Greg, it's Ireland's great shame that he's still languishing in jail. It depends. You can extrapolate along the journey as to why. What's the trigger? Was it the day someone walked into the office and said to him, by the way, you're going to have to use this name and those pronouns for that student? And he says, I'm not doing that. Which, to be honest with you, I don't even see that as standing up to transgenderism because, people have different names all the time. But anyway, I at that point, I can understand why it was a challenge for him. But you kick it on, and the stuff that went down the line, he's not actually sacked at the moment. I believe he's actually he's appealing his dismissal. So I'm not sure. I think he's still getting paid by the school. But he kept turning up at the school. You know what I mean? He kept turning up at the school, and he got a court order against him turning up at the school. Now, if he agrees, I'm not turning up at the school, does that mean that he's given in? No, because he can use his platform then, if that's what he wants to do, to express his points of view. He's languishing in jail, but he doesn't have to. He can get out of jail and do whatever he wants to do. But it's up to him whatever he wants to do. He's a fully grown adult. Morning, Greg. I saw a guy in an e-scooter last Wednesday at Manor Roundabout. He was heading up the dual carriageway towards Letterkenny. I didn't know they're allowed on major roads. I had to do a bit of double take when I saw him. Yes, they are, you see. They are available. They're supposed to be used on roads. I'm not sure when there is a cycle path available, what the rule is there. But they're not supposed to be on footpaths. So either on the road or on the cycle lane is my understanding. But they're very vulnerable looking when they're on the road, I think.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
It's my family, my business. I don't need any help from you people. Keep asking all these questions. Mum and me are fine. I'm gonna leave her alone for 5 minutes. She freaks out. I just don't know how to help her. Note said she's not coming back. I've got no family, no friends. Came over yesterday. Things are kind of normal again thanks to you listening to me every week. I'm feeling better, you know.
Bernardo's changed many children's stories, but we can't without your support. Please donate today at bernardos.ie because childhood lasts a lifetime.
Black November at Yisk with fantastic offers. Save up to 70% on our wide assortment within indoor furniture. For example, save up to 70% on selected dining or office chairs. Yisk.
Scandinavian sleeping and living.
It's Ireland's greatest live show. The Three Amigos, Jimmy Buckley, Robert Mizell and Patrick Feeney are back on tour. Get ready for a truly amazing experience full of laughter, music and song. See The Three Amigos live Tuesday, January 21st, Clonry Hotel, Letterkenny. Tickets priced $39.50, now available at hotel reception and ticketmaster.ie, where booking fees may apply. The Three Amigos live. It's not to be missed.
Do you need help to make a healthcare complaint? Breathe easy. You're not alone. Established 5 years ago, the Patient Advocacy Service is a free, independent and confidential service that can support you to make a complaint to a public acute hospital or a nursing home in Ireland. We also offer support in the aftermath of a patient safety incident and work within the framework of the Patient Safety Act 2023. Call us on 0818 293 003 or visit patientadvocacyservice.ie.
Enjoy real savings this week at SuperValue. Like selected large pack meats such as SuperValue Fresh Irish Whole Chicken, now €5. Chateauneuf de Pop, only €15. Scan your card or app and get Jacob's Afternoon Tea Biscuit Tin, now €8. Make real savings every week at SuperValue. Enjoy alcohol responsibly. Customer quotas apply.
Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure, your football store. Football boot sale now on. Save up to 40% off. Puma Future 7 boots only $49.99. Save €40. The ground is soft. Try a pair of soft ground football boots. Adidas F50 or Adidas Gloro SG with a fold-over tongue. Score a goal with our new range of football boots in-store and online. bmcsports.ie. Our Christmas club is now open.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, it's 11 o'clock. Time for a news update, and it's good morning once again to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Taoiseach Simon Harris, who is visiting Donegal today, says teachers are the backbone of Irish society and Michael O'Leary should stick to running Ryanair. It's after Mr O'Leary said he prefers less teachers and more accountants in government. He told Fine Gael candidate Peter Berg's weekend campaign event that he wouldn't employ teachers to go out and get things done. Joseph Higgins is the head of the TUI in Donegal. He says education has been underfunded for decades and by and large teachers are performing far beyond the resources at their disposal. Meanwhile, another candidate has thrown their name into the hat in Donegal for the upcoming general election. Independent Ireland has announced Donna Murray as their candidate in the county. She aims to champion policies that address housing, planning, agriculture and infrastructure needs in Donegal. A Donegal deputy is calling for the recruitment of more Gardaí for the county and also for more Garda stations to be kept open at night. Deputy Thomas Pringle says the Garda presence in Donegal has shrunk from 1 Garda per 362 people in 2020 to 1 per 383 people in 2023, marking a 12% decline. A Donegal senator has hit out over the struggles of single parents in Donegal seeking housing from the council. One mother who is currently pregnant with her 4th child is living in a 2-bed apartment in Ardra with her 3 other children. Mary's children's health has been affected by mould in the property. She's been told by the council that they cannot review her situation until her 4th child is born. There's renewed calls for action to tackle the high volume of deer in Donegal. It's after 2 crashes in the county in recent days involving the animals. One was in Barnesmore Gap, the Barnesmore Gap area, while around €10,000 worth of damage was caused to a vehicle in Creeslaw. Councillor Michael McClafferty fears someone will be seriously injured or worse unless the issue is addressed. And serious concerns have been raised over low water levels at Loch Colmkill in Milford. The large water resource is currently the main water supply for Milford and surrounding areas. Councillor Declan Meehan fears the impact the depletion of Loch Colmkill will have on water supply in the coming months, as well as the ecological and environmental knock-on effect. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Michaela, thanks very much.
Flowgas do electricity too. And you can get a 24% discount and €300 welcome bonus when you switch your gas and electricity to Flowgas. That's the gas part. And the electricity part. Get our best value dual fuel bundle at flowgas.ie. Flowgas, energy for everyone. T's and C's apply. New customers only. First year cost based on an EAB of €2,694.39. For information on charges, unit rate, standing charge, PSO and carbon tax, see flowgas.ie.
Now, if you listen to us on the wireless, in the radio, in the car or what have you over the last couple of weeks, you might have noticed that the signal wasn't where it should be at. And it was a technical issue outside of our control, but a complex one. And I know from my own experience that it has been mostly resolved now. So if you normally listen to Highland in the car, but dependent on where you are, it was a wee bit ropey, that should be returned for you now. So get back on listening, just in case you were discouraged from doing so. As I say, outside of our control, but all up and running now from my own experience. Kieran, Matthew White. Kieran, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining me.
How are you getting on, Greg?
I'm doing good. It's a frustrating one, this, Kieran, and I really do appreciate you speaking to us about this because, you know, we're talking about the need for housing and the demand for housing versus supply. You've got a bloody nice house ready to go. What's the situation?
Situation is 3-bed house in the middle of Falcara there, fully refurbed, oil heating, stove, 500 yards from the centre of the town. But looking to rent it or lease it to the council long term, and been informed, tried different angles on it, came out, inspected it back last year. They were happy with the house, but they're telling me that there's nobody in the Falcara area at the minute looking to qualify for council housing, that everyone is accommodated privately and there's no need for it.
So there is no demand. And is it the house?
No demand.
Is it the house or the amount of bedrooms or the layout of the house or what?
There's no demand, that everyone that's on the council list looking or qualifying for a 3-bed house, and it doesn't need to be Falcara as such. That's
or the hinterland.
I was just listening to your caller this morning, so you know, maybe I'm missing something, but I think listening to your show, they're saying there's a housing crisis. Councillors are on saying they don't have enough houses. They're telling me then that there's houses being built in Falcara that'll be finished by end of 25 that are going to qualify, that'll cover every need that's there, which I find it hard to believe that they're going to be built in the next year, but I don't know. I just thought I'd put it out there to see.
And Kieran, I'm not asking a private question, don't get me wrong, but is there a particular reason why you decided to offer this to the council rather than, I suppose, to the open rental market? Is it just a bit of stability you wanted in it?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay.
So I'd be willing to give a 10-year lease. So it's not something that, you know, in 6 months' time I'm going to decide I'm going to sell the house. I'd be happy to sign a 10-year lease to the council. It's a long term. It's just security of it, really.
Yeah, no, I get you.
We can go down the private route, and I know there is a demand for the private side, but I'd rather go this route.
No, and you've been told that apparently there's no housing crisis in Falcara at all. There's no one in Falcara or the surrounding areas that's waiting on a house that could avail of your 3-bed, fully refurbed property in the heart of Falcara.
Within walking distance to school, town, so you don't even need transport.
That's remarkable. And once that decision is made, is that it? Or do they say, right, we're on a list, if anything comes up, you're on a list, sorry, if anything comes up, we'll make contact?
Well, it's out there. Nobody's come back to me on it. I left it open. The house is still empty. So nobody's come back inquiring about it. Spoke to a few different councillors, etc., but they've all come back with the same response.
Did the conversation with the council ever turn to money? Like, was that on the table, or
no? No, money wasn't an issue. It was basically they told me to just go with the market value in the area, which I'd be happy enough with.
Yeah, exactly. So that there was no problem there.
It's not an issue. We haven't even got down to that.
It's remarkable, Kieran. It's a remarkable story. Not the first one I've heard either, but I mean, that has
just looking a bit of clarity to see. Yeah.
All right. Well, Kieran, listen, we'll make our inquiries on your behalf. I just find it hard to believe that there's not a family that would, on the council list, that would happily move to Falcara to avail of
it doesn't have to be Falcara.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Great to learn these things. It does give us an insight into what's going on, Kieran. Maybe there's more to it from the council's perspective, but we'll see if we can find out.
We'll see.
Thanks for your time, Kieran.
Thanks,
Take care
Greg.
of yourself. All right, there you go. Absolutely remarkable. House is lying there, 3-bed lying there, empty in Falcara, fully refurbed. But Kieran says he's been told by the council that there ain't no demand for it at the moment. Hi, Greg. I think O'Leary is taking the mickey out of TDs as usual. As far as I know, the last few leaders have been teachers, Enda Kenny and Micheál Martin, to mention a few, and still they haven't done anything about class sizes. That comes in from Kevin. Yeah, it's actually interesting, Kevin. Maybe they are. A caller says, I saw the Starlink satellites in the sky in Letterkenny about 6:20 last night. Just wondering if anyone else saw them. Yep, they did. A few people saw them because I was contacted on Facebook. Not everyone knows about the Starlink sort of setup. That's Elon Musk's company. But they launch, and wherever they launch or however they launch, that's just about the time that they cross low in the orbit, so we see them. And it's quite unusual because they're in a perfect line, these little satellites that he's using to provide broadband to places not supplied by it or those that are, and that's his satellite network. And it's kind of interesting too because I noticed that some astronomers are saying that their ability to see far out into the galaxy is being hindered by the noise of these satellites in their telescopes and what have you. But anyway, there's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of them up there. Patsy Kelly's with me now. He's a former SDLP councillor, as you might know, independent councillor in Strabane and on Derry Council. Good morning to you, Patsy. Thanks for your time.
Not too bad, Greg. How are you?
I'm all right. You were flying out of Derry recently, and your experience is one that you're prepared to share in case it helps other people. What's the story?
Well, I did share it on Friday. On Friday, we were flying to Edinburgh. So it was basically flying to Edinburgh, and I've used EasyJet before. I've only used them about maybe 3 or 4 weeks beforehand, flying over into Manchester with work. And the same luggage, hand luggage that I use all the time on and off the planes there. In Derry, the first thing that happened was they said our bag was too big for the cabin, which I used it with an EasyJet flight 4 weeks before, and there was no issue. And we had to pay £48 one way, and the plane was 2/3 empty.
Is this like your average sort of 10 kilogram bag, Patsy? That the square ones that we might
just
be familiar
small,
with.
less than 10 kg, small bag.
But the shape one.
This is a square shaped one that's been used all the time with EasyJet. Anytime we flew with them at all, and this time out of Derry, £48. One girl didn't even let us have a speak to ask why. It just was £48. You're not getting it on, and she started looking at other bags. And then we got on the plane. Before we got on the plane, we were told by other EasyJet staff there's inconsistencies in other airports the way this is policed. Because we came back today and no issue. But rather than the safeguarding, we paid an extra £22 just in case where this came out of for luggage. But my fact is, whatever we all normally think that a small bag which normally what you use all the time on a plane, is now becoming, they want you almost to do something just very, very, very small.
But Patsy,
But
is there a risk that you could land up there tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday or whenever the next flight is, and it's different staff and it might not be enforced?
Yes. Well, this is what one of the staff, one or two airline staff said. There's inconsistency, which my fear is when we get out. I thought, right, this plane must be packed. They're 2/3 empty getting into Edinburgh on Friday, and we had paid her for the seats that we wanted and everything up at the front, and then we were charged for this bag, which I had told them, or I tried to tell them, I was on an EasyJet flight. I could even show them the booking reference, the last flight I was on, no issues, same bag. And I was out of London on Monday there, last Monday as well, and same bag, no issues, but with a different airline.
Yeah,
you know.
Caller just
So
message.
I just wanted to watch there.
Same
because,
problem yesterday
you know,
from Birmingham. So it's not just Derry. Someone in Birmingham got hit with the 48s.
£48. You know, this is something that's been catching
How
people
much
out
was the
and-
flights? How much is a flight?
The flight was bought for me, but the flight was only £58.
My word.
So it was return. You know, it was great for a lovely weekend, but the fact is there's stinging us at the airport, you know, and they're blaming EasyJet. Yes, nothing to do with Derry and Strabane District Council who run the airport at the moment, but £48 is not the money, it's the principle of the thing. You know, how many other people is going to be caught like this?
It's the money,
you know.
though. I'll tell you one thing. I've headed away. If I was heading, say, to Edinburgh or whatever, at a time where you'd budget, I don't know, right, I'm going to spend 150 sterling or whatever it might be, you know yourself, and to have 50 taken out of that as you depart is a big old hit. I mean, you're not far off booking a seat for your bag and sitting it beside you. Do you know that sort of way? That's that's almost where you're at. Crazy stuff. All right.
Well, we had 4 seats booked, but one of the other people that was coming with us took sick and couldn't come, so we had a spare seat. But we had to pay £48 for the bag. So just anybody be wary that there is an issue there, and an inconsistent one that's not being dealt with by EasyJet. I know themselves.
Okay, yeah.
When
the staff themselves are saying that, was it? I'm not digging. Was it just a wee leisure trip, Patsy?
It was just a weekend in Edinburgh to
Was
see
it nice? What was
a
it
partner's
like?
family.
Okay, right.
It's colder, a lot
Right, okay,
colder than here, but dry, beautiful, and just meeting up with my partner's family.
Brilliant.
And it was lovely, a lovely weekend, and Edinburgh's a lovely city to come out. Much handier coming out of Derry, yes, but that took the sting of it before we even got on the flight.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But
No, I'm asking you
apart
for
from that, it was
selfish reasons, because it seems, you know, to be able to hop over to Scotland from Derry, it's a great thing. Shame about this bit of negative publicity, because it's great to have these connections, isn't it? I think there's a flight to
It's
Liverpool
brilliant to have the
also,
connections, you know, and that was the only sting in the tail, that. But the rest was fantastic. So saving you having to drive to Belfast or anything like that,
For
you know, to Edinburgh, which is a popular city and a lovely city.
All right, well, let's see. We'll get a quote from EasyJet. I'm sure they've already issued one. We'll see what they have to say. But for now, Patsy, thank you very much indeed, Patsy Kelly. So, what's your experience been with EasyJet and the carry-on bag that you would expect to be able to take on with you? Maybe Shannon, if you don't mind, you might go onto the website and just go into the as if you were booking a flight and just see what the baggage allowance is on the website. If you don't mind, that might be quite interesting. I mean, they might say you can't take one of those, but it's a bit of an expectation, isn't it? Right, okay. Teachers tend to be overrepresented in the Dáil due to the nature of the job with career breaks. The last economic crash, however, was due to the banking and business sector, not the average teacher. I mean, teachers work hard. I wouldn't want to be involved in any teacher bashing, because I know there's, you know, when you look at jobs, like you see people do different jobs that you could or couldn't do, or wouldn't do, or just wouldn't be fit to do. I'll tell you, teaching would be one I would. I don't think I'd excel at. So I have a lot of respect for them. Greg, it'd be interesting to get the number of teachers who are in the Dáil at the moment. I'm no fan of O'Leary, but he has a point. We need more teachers. Let's see if we can find that out. There's a lot of landlords in the Dáil. I don't know if that surprises you. A couple of comments coming in, not in specific relation to any case we've been talking about today. And this is not man-bashing either. But a lot of times people are struggling with accommodation or whatever it might be. And as I say, this is not in relation to anything we've talked about today. So I want to be very clear on that. And wondering, you know, are fathers present enough in some of these situations in terms of supporting their children and the mother of their children? As I say, that's not in relation to anything specific today. It's off the back of a separate comment, and I'm trying to word it differently so it's not associated with an earlier piece. But I don't know if you think there's something to that. Maybe you're a woman who is of that view, or a fella for that matter. Accommodation in this county is absolutely buggered. We were in a similar situation at the start of the year. A family of 5 with number 6 on the way. We rented a house for nearly 10 years. Owners decided to sell up, had to move out. I earned slightly too much to qualify for support and thus have been completely priced out of Letterkenny and still paying double what I was paying in my old house. Up to now 60% of my salary a month. 60% with a family of 6 on rent. Okay. Okay, I'll just come back to that one. I don't know what that one's about. Hi, Greg. Great to see Michael O'Leary and Fine Gael showing their true colours. They all want yes men and prefer slave labour and do not have critical thinking skills and no sense of entitlement to a good work-life balance and moral substance. Keep it going, teachers. Ireland needs you. The coalition must really believe that the people of Donegal are stupid. It was next to impossible to get a minister up here over recent years, but now when it's in their own best interests, we can't keep them away. But then what I will say, I get where you're coming from, but you could then argue they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. If they don't, it's like, oh, what's going on? That would be me. Oh, what's going on? You never come up here, and then they do. You go, oh, well, you never come up here, and now you do. So I do have a bit of sympathy that, as I say, you couldn't win either way.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
For the biggest names in perfumes and aftershaves, visit McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Dior, Armani and Hugo Boss, Victor and Rolf, Marc Jacobs and Lancôme. Also Gucci, Yves Saint Laurent, Prada and many more. From timeless classics to celebrity favourites, there's a perfume or aftershave for everyone at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny and online at mcgees.ie.
It's been a long year, so with Christmas on the way, reward your team with something extra special. Why not say thank you with up to €1,500 tax-free at Tesco? Our corporate gift cards work across all our departments, so there'll be something for everyone. Flowers for some, Tipp-Ex for others. Business gifting has never been easier. Visit tescoforbusiness.com or call 01 215 2526 to learn more. Tesco. Every little helps. Terms and conditions apply.
New this week at Home Store and More. All Christmas tree lights are half price. That's right, half price. Save €30 on 1,000 LED cluster lights, or save an amazing €50 on 2,000 LED cluster lights. Let our half-price Christmas tree lights add a Christmas twinkle to your home. But better hurry, because when all our half-price Christmas tree lights are gone, they're gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Attention Donegal, Derry and Tyrone. PD Bathrooms and Tiles are proud to unveil our newest and most stunning showroom in Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana. Located right opposite the Northwest Golf Course, we offer unbeatable quality and incredible value. For 30 years, we've been the experts in total refits, stocking and serving as the sole agent for many top brands. Visit us today and transform your space with the finest bathroom and tile solutions. Telephone 93 95 884. PD Bathrooms and Tiles, where excellence meets value. Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana, F93H10F.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is?
The time is 11:20. Good morning. Just tuned into your station this morning for the first time. My local station is Shannonside. Just taking a break from Joe Finnegan today. Kind regards, Tommy. Cheers, Tommy. I haven't listened to Joe myself. Why are you taking a break? Supposed to know. I'll mix it up a little bit. Good to have you on board here anyway. Right, Dominic O'Donnell's with me now. Dominic, thanks for joining us on the programme this morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Okay, so your son and 4 of his mates flew over. I presume, was it to watch Liverpool Aston Villa? Was that the game they went over for?
No, it was the Liverpool-Leverkusen game on Tuesday.
Right, on Tuesday
evening.
past, okay. Right, so what was their experience?
Well, they've worked all summer and saved up for a European game, so they booked everything themselves. And everything was going good until they landed in Liverpool. And they went in to check into the hotel. So when they were checking in, they asked one of the boys what age he was, and he said he was 17, maybe 18 in a couple of days. And they turned around and told them that they couldn't check in. And they says, could you not ring our parents just to verify all this? And wouldn't do nothing. They asked for the manager. The manager wouldn't come down to speak to them. And they just put them on the street, basically. And they phoned 4 or 5 hotels before they rang me. And then they were panicking then because they thought they were going to be out in the street because the hotels they'd rang was all fully booked out. So I just went on to booking.com and I seen an apart hotel. And I sent it on to them, but they were afraid of losing more money by booking online. So they found another place themselves and they walked down to it and they met a woman there and they told her that I was double booked just in case they wouldn't get booked in. So she says, I can't have anybody standing on the streets. And she got them a place and looked after them now. And I spoke to that woman since, and she was appalled by the way they were treated. And she says, like, they can stay there anytime anymore when they go over. Like,
all right, Stephen Sharkey, you're one of the lads. Hi, Stephen.
How's it going, Greg?
I'm doing right, buddy. So you landed in Liverpool Tuesday morning, was it?
Tuesday morning, aye.
All right, and the game was that night, wasn't it, against Leverkusen? So what was it like when you went into the hotel and you were told, no, you can't stay here? I presume you were all very responsible lads. You know, you were in there, you weren't causing any trouble. You just wanted somewhere to sleep after the match.
We were just trying to check in, and your man wasn't getting the manager, and we asked, so.
And would they reason with you at all? Like, did you say, look, if you don't let us stay here, what they weren't interested in your welfare, I take it?
No, not really, no.
All right, okay. And obviously very relieved then when you got into accommodation. What time was that about at?
That was about 5 o'clock, yeah.
Right, so it didn't leave you much time then to get to the ground and all that. You did get to see the game, I take it.
Yeah, just about then.
But it was all a bit of a rush. All right, cheers for that. Michael, you're there too. Michael, how are you getting on?
Yes, Greg, how's it going?
I'm all right. It's been a good wee run for Liverpool, of course, but for a time, I'd say you were pretty worried, pretty desperate in Liverpool. No roof, nowhere to stay.
Oh, we were very worried now when we landed at the hotel. We were just in shock. We didn't know what to do or where we were going, or we were afraid to book another hotel then in case, they wouldn't let us in because the same hotel didn't let us in. So we didn't know whether we should book a hotel and lose more money, and we just hadn't a clue. So we thought it'd be better off going to that lovely woman. I have to say, she was very, very kind to us, and
I think
we went to her and she says,
she must have had kids of her own or understood. I know you're not kids, you're 17.
Nah,
don't get me wrong,
she was very, very nice now, in fairness.
Yeah, all right, and put you up.
No, she was very nice, but.
And you obviously were very respectful because you have that place to go back to anytime you want to, I hear.
Oh, that's it, and I wouldn't mind. It was a lovely apartment too,
Yeah.
I was just right in the city centre, hey,
Brilliant.
and there was no fuss about it.
Fantastic, it's good to know. And you've got to see the match anyway, a 4-0 win, I think it was on Tuesday, wasn't it?
Aye, also a brilliant game. We had the hospitality tickets too, you see, so
right.
We were in the ground from about 7. So, it was great. We were so glad then because we weren't really looking forward to the game then when we knew where to stay. We were like, oh, geez.
What are we going to do?
We would rather have a roof over our heads than actually go to the game at that stage, like.
Great.
And, we found the hotel then, and sure, we were looking forward to the game.
Well done,
then.
lads. And it was a good game. Another good win on Saturday as well. So all's good in that regard. And once you got in contact with that lady, you were able to switch off the nightmare of the day earlier on and just enjoy the match, the 5 years, which is great.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. Well done. And just finally back to you, Dominic. Obviously, 2 lovely lads. I'm sure they all were. It's no harm maybe just to let people know that this can happen.
Yeah, because like the whole lot of them, they're in leaving cert and they're at the age now where they're going to venture out themselves, and like they can book flights, they can fly, and not to get into a hotel at that age. They can all drive cars.
But even if one of them had to, even if the hotel said, right, lads, we're going to have to get one of your parents' debit card or credit cards just in case. You know, say for instance, it was down to, not that they ever would, but you know, as a security for the hotel or something. But anyway, as you say, they can fly, they can get into the football match, but they can't put their head down in Liverpool. Very bad form. Thanks for that, Dominic. That's Dominic O'Donnell and Stephen and Michael. Again, might not be a situation that will ever apply to you, but maybe it is something that's coming up. Just a word to the wise. And it's not just Liverpool, by the way. I have heard similar stories elsewhere.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
You've heard of the egg muffin, but have you heard of the gloriously delicious Centra egg muffin with the legendary Super Queen sausage? An Irish national treasure. Buy any Centra egg muffin and a 12-ounce Frank and Honest hot coffee for just €6. Centra. Live every day.
With more routes nationwide, your TFI Local Link bus service provides connection to the wider Transport for Ireland public transport network. Save up to 30% when you use your TFI Leap card on TFI Local Link services. For route and timetable information, visit transportforireland.ie. We're Transport for Ireland. We're Transport for you.
Connect Hearing is open for free hearing tests. Our audiologist is available Monday to Friday for wax removal services at our Letterkenny Clinic in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. We also offer a home visit for those who are unable to visit us. Our hearing is our social sense. Are you finding hearing more of a challenge? Call Ursula today on 07491 13296 to make an appointment. Good hearing helps us to connect to our family, friends and loved ones. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
If you're looking for a competitive insurance quote, contact Hickey Clark and Langan Insurance Brokers in Letterkenny. Home, car or van insurance, farm, commercial or public liability insurance. They compare quotes from all the leading insurers so you get a great price. Call Hickey Clark and Langan on 9126688 or call into the office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey Clark and Langan General Insurances Limited, trading as Hickey Clark and Langan, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Get ready for the sale event of the year at Foy's. To mark Black Friday for the entire month of November in both our Ballybuffet and Letterkenny stores, there's big discounts on stunning furniture, perfect for transforming your home in time for the holidays. Whether you're refreshing your living room or upgrading your bedroom, we've got the deals to make it happen. Get in early before the best pieces are gone. The Black Friday savings are here for a limited time only at Foy's in Ballybuffet and Letterkenny.
Make Christmas for everyone at Dunnes Stores. Choose from a selection of boxes of chocolates like Nestle Dairy Box and Black Magic, now half price. And fill the fridge with your favourite soft drinks like 7-Up and Club Orange, 18 can packs, now just €8.50. Plus, you can save at the till with a €10.50 grocery voucher. However you do your Christmas shop, make Christmas for everyone at Dunnes Stores. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next grocery shop of €50 or more. Prices subject to deposit return scheme fees.
Paul Williams has a new book out. It's called Crooks, the stories behind the headlines. And Paul's with me now. Hiya, Paul. Good morning to you. 1 second. Sorry, Paul. I don't have your fade.
So up there in lovely Donegal.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't have your fader up here because I'm sitting here with your... I was leafing through your book with the fader down. Sorry, you were saying about lovely Donegal. I'll give you an opportunity to reiterate that.
I said hello to all your listeners in beautiful Donegal, which is almost as nice as Leitrim, but we stop it there, okay?
Do you know what? The Northwest, we're all family up here, aren't we? We all share most of the same lovely scenery and the same problems. Okay, so
we were always the poor cousins.
Exactly,
absolutely.
That's it, Paul. So you've been at this for 4 decades. It's just reflecting on your career, Paul. It's a toughie, right? Is it worth it? Is it all worth it? I know you're still at it, but reflecting on 4 years, it's a different type of journalism. There's more of you in it, I think, to some extent.
Well, yes. Well, you asked that question, and it's a good question. People asked me that for many, many years. Is one of the reasons why I wrote the book is, was it worth it? And I ended up getting myself in a huge amount of trouble, and then obviously put my own family in peril. But it's not a decision you make when you set out. And my very first crime story I covered, as I said in the book, was 40 years ago on the side of a mountain in Leitrim in 1984. But when I started, the first threats I got, serious death threats that came through the police, were in 1994. But then 10 years later, I had a bomb scare and much more serious even death threats at that stage. But the point about it is that it's an incremental process that you gradually, very gradually find yourself in that situation. And remember along that journey, through the years too, like I said at the book launch last week, that there's not many professions you can be in, apart from maybe being the army and the guards, whereby you can say that 2 of your colleagues and friends were shot dead in the line of duty. And also you get to know a lot of people who have been murdered and people that you liked. So, that's a distinction that crime journalists have compared to any other journalist. And so it was to put the story, when I started writing the book, I started with the General, when we first chased after the General, when I came to Dublin first, working with the Sunday World. And I didn't know where it was going to bring me. And then I started going through like a voyage behind the scenes. I suppose in many ways it's reminding to the readers that there's a very, very dark side to the headlines you read about in the paper, as in you read a very dark story about very brutal people like the Psycho or the Westies or any of these people, or the General. But that there's another side to the story. There's the dark side of the messenger who tries to bring you the story and what happens behind the scenes to them. And it's only when I reflected and was sitting in a cabin at the back of my house writing this stuff that it sort of came together in that I used to sit back and go, Jesus, did all that happen? And like at one stage in 2003, I ended up with an episode of post-traumatic stress because that year culminated in a bomb scare at my home and an acid attack in my car. But in that process, that whole year, I was being told by the guards from NBCI, the National Bureau of Criminal Investigation, came to see me. I was being threatened by Martin Foley, the Viper, and his criminal gang. Then I was threatened by associates of his, but then the INLA and a sort of a disparate group, which included the likes of Christy Kinahan advising them, and different groups came together, and they had a much more serious plan. Like Martin Foley, the Viper, tried to harass me and intimidate me, but the other gang, this other group that came together, and I was being warned about they were going to try and lure, and they did try to lure me out into at meetings. I literally, that's what you do as a journalist, you go out and meet contacts, and suddenly I couldn't meet people because I was being warned by the police, these guys are going to try and lure you into a trap, and until we get control on the situation, we advise, don't do anything because they'd kill you. And all of that was coming hard and fast. And then at the same time, by the way, this particular year, 2003, which I talk about in the book as the year of living dangerously, like we also had the then Minister for Justice on our case because he was bringing in the 2005 Garda Síochána Act. And he was planning it. And one of the provisions in that was to make it a criminal offence for a guard to talk to a journalist. Now, it was a very blunt instrument, but he came out all guns blazing when a journalist in a national newspaper basically attacked crime journalists and said he could name 5 journalists who were paying guards for information, which are completely and utterly untrue, and which he later had to completely retract because the only people who were dealing with cops were crime journalists. And a campaign was launched. All the crime journalists at the time had to come out and publicly state, this is outrageous. And then McDougall endorsed that for his time. And so then that validated in the eyes of the criminals that, yes, these crime journalists are only thugs and scumbags just like us, and we'll go after them. And I was the most high profile of the lot of them at the time, and they were already after me. So it was like I became sort of like fair game. So that particular year was really, really crazy, and it resulted with the state placing myself and my family under 24, under the equivalent of witness protection program. We had a full-time 24/7, 365 police armed and uniformed presence at our home, which lasted for well over 10 years. And then at the same time, I also was provided with, the state provided with me, I didn't ask for them, provided me with 2 armed members of Garda Special Branch who everywhere I went for over 2 years literally were with me. Every time I looked in the rear view mirror, there was an escort car driving behind me. If I went anywhere, say we went to we went to a wedding one time up in Harvey's Point, up there in beautiful Donegal, for our nephew, and Like that was an example of whereby we were going up there, so we were going to stay in Leitrim the night before and drive up. So the police had to go through this. So every time we went somewhere, there was a convoluted situation whereby, they had to contact the chief superintendent in Sligo, Leitrim, because I was staying in Leitrim for a night, because they would have to put armed protection on at the house when my own bodyguards went off duty, so to speak. And then they had to alert the PSNI that I was going into Enniskillen to go to the wedding. And then they had to alert the chief in Donegal to tell him I was going up to his wedding in Harvey's Point, was going to be staying. Like, you felt that you were a bloody nuisance yourself, because all of this logistics were going on, and it was literally like the same as being in the witness protection program.
Did they ever
and that
have
was done because they thought it would kill me.
I beg your pardon, sorry, Paul. Did they ever have to intervene? Either the 24-hour protection on the home or the guard either with you. Did they ever intercept anything happening to you?
They did indeed. Yeah, there was one example. Like, my son was coming in one night back a few years ago. He was coming home one night and he spotted a guy standing sort of like looking suspiciously out on the road. We were just in off the road in Rathfarnham, and he thought he twigged the guy. He reckoned it was Martin Foley, the Viper, and like there was a guard at the house, so he came in, but the guards then spotted him looking through the gates. There was gates which he thought he couldn't be seen, and there was a big alert, and he was pulled in. There was another time when he and his associates arrived at my son's school in Turner College, and the principal and the teachers were brilliant. They were always very, very conscious that Jake was there and that there may be a security matter. And when they saw him making his rambling around the school grounds, which he had no business to be there, they called the guards and they locked down the whole school and pulled him in to find out what he was up to. There was another time when...
But what they... Sorry, Paul, I was going to say, what they were trying to achieve at that time, their job was probably done, right? Because it's about intimidating you, and if they can't get to you, you try and get to those around you, and this is all chronicled in the book, and this is where we get the insight from this new book. Then that's different, isn't it? Because you can make your own decisions as an adult, Paul, and you can make your calls as an adult, but then, and you've talked about it already, and I'm sure we'll read more about it then it's how it starts impacting how your son or the rest of the family go about their life and living their lives, looking over their shoulders. That's where I would really start struggling.
Absolutely. And as I say to you, it creeps up to you. And I've said I'll use the line in the book that just came spontaneously to me when I was writing. I was like, I suddenly found myself in a dark and very demented world where all of this was happening. And I remember the lowest point was the night that they planted a very elaborate hoax device at my home and my car, and it was designed purely to intimidate and turn me into a pariah. And the police were superbly professional that night. It was amazing. They took us out of the house, they took myself and my wife, and she and our son went in one squad car, and I and myself and my daughter went in another car that brought us to the station. But the big problem with all of that was that they then had to evacuate. When the bomb squad came and looked at the device, they evacuated the entire road. 150 people at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. It was horrendous. And yes, that when that happens, I was looking at my family in the police station saying, like, just all I could say was sorry. And then with my neighbours, I felt ashamed that I caused them so much trouble. There was one poor man who had testicular cancer. And when I was in the Garda station and I rang some of the guards who were up evacuating the place, and the reason the bomb squad evacuated the place because when they x-rayed the device, they said it was a professional, proper, lethal and legitimate device. But I could hear this man, the guard, saying, pick up your daughter, you have to move. But the poor man, even though he looked well, he was very unwell and he couldn't pick up his child. And I could happen just to hear that in the background. And I felt absolutely, the world you want just to swallow you up.
Yeah.
And then when the police did arrive and when they were put full time, at least there was never a burglary on the road after that. It was the one small thing I could do to make up to my neighbours,
Paul,
but it was horrible. It was horrible.
I can imagine. Right, so I can understand just during the most dangerous of times, right? It's very easy to sort of to determine a threat to you or a risk level to you, right? But, a lot of these people have long memories and a lot of them could still be behind bars and feel that you were very much a part of that. So as time goes on, how is the threat level determined? Is it not more difficult to sort of I mean, I'm sure some of these threats to you have never passed. So how is that all determined, if you know what I mean? Because there could be people waiting in the long grass, so to speak, who can't wait to get revenge on something you've written or an article that eventually maybe led to their incarceration.
But you have that, but of course age and maturation, as they say, takes hold, and they sort of cop themselves on. But like, I haven't been on frontline crime reporting for some years now.
Yeah, I get that.
Radio and all of that kind of stuff. And like the expose is like, I'm now a sort of seen as an expert in the area because I commentate it as a criminologist. I talk about it and do lectures on it. But the point about it is that, I understand what they do, how they think. I understand the psychology. Yes, there may be a few guys there who might maybe have long memories. Like, I had a really long, difficult time with the INLA, basically because I stood up to the bastards. They were a bunch of bully boy thugs. In the end of the day, by the way, one thing I would never do, Greg, is I never apologise for doing my job. Because when we were getting the serious stress and trouble from these guys, the one thing that we always agreed on, and he included my family, was that if we back down, these people infest other people's lives. Think of Steve Collins in Limerick. Look what he went through. He's a very close friend of mine. And I knew his son, Roy, and I got to know them years before Roy was murdered. And I held his hand because he was my friend. And when you look at what he went through, I went through nothing. So I have an obligation and a duty of care to help him. And there's so many other people like that. And there's also then the other people, Greg, there's no such thing as impartiality in this business. Because a thug is a thug. If somebody goes into your life and tries to infest it and destroy it and undermine it, then that bastard needs to be made life as difficult as possible for them. Remember as well, 2 of my colleagues have been murdered. So that sort of fuels, colours your view on the world. You can't back down against them. And our little bit, by writing about them, it was a little bit of justice for some people. It gave people a voice. And they tried. And I would be very careful. I'm a natural-born security consultant almost now, because I'm so used to all the years of being security conscious. So I'm not going to ramble into places, even at this stage of my life, where I don't know and can't control the environment, so to speak.
Yeah, I get you. You'll check the exits and what have you. But Paul, just in relation to the job that you did, I mean, obviously now, what the general public would see, some of the major players in crime, it's there in your face. People will be tracking the Kinahan's movements and that story and the government efforts to extract them back and all that kind of stuff. But there's an awful lot of crime ongoing at a lower level, right? And this is, I'm not asking you actually, by the way, to criticise your colleagues or anything like that, but do we still see the same level of crime reporting and investigative journalism where you get right into the nitty-gritty of what's happening right now and you're taking on, the generals of 2024 and otherwise? I don't be exposed to an awful lot of it, but I know you'd keep an eye on it. I'm just wondering how important it clearly was a very important role during the times most listening are familiar with. Do we still see that now? Is there a gap there? Is it gone forever?
Well, and that's absolutely no reflection on my colleagues. I've talked to younger colleagues, and I think it's outrageous that they have to go through such extraordinary, have to act like almost like international spies to do stories now. And that's thanks to this 2005 Garda Síochána Act brought in by Michael McDowell. And as well as that, we have, and I've said this very publicly, and have said it many, many times, and I've written this narration about it, we have the worst Garda Commissioner in the history of the state. We have a man who came in here who's a very good man, a great man of integrity, but a man who hasn't got a bloody clue about Irish culture or how Irish people are and the relationship to have with a Garda Síochána. They have now got to a situation where a guard at the highest rank, and this is now a professional organisation with highly qualified, capable people, and they don't have the confidence in themselves to stand and say hello or talk to a journalist publicly, because they're terrified of their lives that they too will be suspended by this suspender. That's what he seems to be more. And like you saw, 99% of Garda Síochána, when they voted no
Quite
confidence
remarkable.
in their commissioners, that's unprecedented, Greg. And the reason it's unprecedented is because, and like I think our Minister for Justice, Helen McAdoo, is a very nice person, but she is not up to the job, and she could have grabbed the nettle. I know it's difficult, but if 99% of your rank and file, the people that we expect to protect us day to day in our normal lives, the thin, very thin blue line is completely demoralised angry and walking out the door in large numbers. You have to look around and see for scapegoat. And the two scapegoats to me are the Minister for Justice, Helen McEntee, and the previous Minister for Justice, and Drew Harris. The people on Garda Síochána are holding their breath and marking down like prisoners in a cell. You know the way they mark the wall for each day that passes. Well, people are doing that all over the place.
People can track that themselves with the resignations and retirements, the monthly bulletin that's out there. Right. Okay. So that's Paul Williams, author of Crooks: The Stories Behind the Headlines. If you're interested in crime and the stories behind the crimes that you're familiar with, Paul wrote many of them. But do you want an insight as to how he got those scoops and what impact they might have? And also, as we've been talking about, the high price one has to pay for that line of work, but also other people that you've pursued, become engaged with. Paul, it's all there in this book. It is familiar to readers of your book, but there's more of you in this than previous books.
Well, there is. It's a sort of it is very much a personal thing, you know. Like, for example, just as before I go, like it's ironic that this morning Jojo Dollard's been missing for 29 years. The man has finally been arrested. Like I write a chapter about how I spent 2 years literally tracking Larry Murphy around Europe, and it was very exciting. But like one thing, for example, just before I go, I remember we were following him one time in Amsterdam secretly. We had a surveillance on him for something like a month before we decided to move in and confront him. But like I was getting phone calls from people in Leitrim, people in Donegal, people in Sligo, my part of the world, saying that, you know, we saw Larry Murphy there in Buncrana. And people were starting to see these false sightings that were being fueled by social media. And somebody was going to get killed. But that was because he was the ultimate bogeyman. And I always took great pleasure in that, because in the sense that we could expose to the public and show the public, by the way, don't be afraid of the bogeyman. He's not there. He's in downtown Amsterdam working here, and he's living with this person and that person. And there was a great pleasure in that, just making their lives difficult. You know, I tell the story about John O'Neill, the man who knew, he's known as the former FBI agent, who became a great friend of mine, and he was killed. He was the world's foremost expert on Osama bin Laden. He left the FBI. He was forced out of the FBI 1 month before the attack on 9/11, and he got a job where as head of security in the World Trade Center. I spoke to him about a week before the attack on the World Trade Center, and ultimately, the ultimate irony was, and tragic irony was, that poor John O'Neill, FBI man, was killed by the man who he had tracked for years, Osama bin Laden.
And he warned everybody. He saw it coming.
Yeah, that's the point. He's known in America as the man who knew. Jeff Daniels played him in a movie called The Looming Tower some years ago. And it was a pleasure and honour to say that he was a friend of mine, and he was one of the foremost. He was the reason I got to know him was because he was involved in the hunt for dissidents and the dissident Republican investigations that were going on here following the peace process. And he was very, very much in that, because he was a counter-terrorism expert, and I met him through Pat Byrne, the commissioner, and we became very good friends. And I've never been able to get over the fact. And most of American people, the FBI and all those places, can't get over how tragically ironic it was that the man who warned, and he even said it the night before, he said something's going to happen, and it did happen. And what happened was his first major crisis in the job, less than 2 weeks into it, was his last. He was killed in the North Tower. You know, it was, and to be part of that and to witness all of that is sort of like, you know, when you look back on it, it's quite an emotional drain, and you do wonder how the hell you stuck with handle all that stuff.
Of course,
you know?
but what's not unique, but what is different for a lot of people, the crime and the stories of crime and the personalities involved in it almost seems fictional. And I think with the types, with the programs like Love, Hate and others as well, and other stuff we see coming out from Hollywood, sometimes it's hard to differentiate between what's real and what's not real. And in our minds, subconsciously, we forget that the characters that you interacted with are very, very real. And we have access to you alive writing a book where we can sort of get more of an insight into that and a sense of that reality. And it's
there's a very good line. There's a very good line that sums up all of this. And I've been saying this all my life. As I say, I'm just turning 60 now, and I survived. But like I always make the point that the truth is much stranger than fiction. Like there's things that happen. You say, Jesus Christ, you couldn't make this up. You know that term. And I've had more experiences like that through the years. Of so many cases that you come across, and also I do know, for example, when Love, Hate was being shown, do you remember Love, Hate?
Yes,
and
I
knew the guys who were doing consulting on that, and I was watching programs, and I knew exactly the trajectory, and I knew where it was all going because that was a brilliantly scripted. Stuart Carroll did a great job in that, but because he consulted the people who knew, and I would know and recognise the characters, and I recognise where I could predict where the trajectory of each character's plot line was, because I've seen it all before. And the same thing today. Like, one of the last things I'll say to you before I go, because of the prevalence of cocaine in our society, organised crime is more embedded in society now than it's ever been at any stage, and ever will be, because in every village and town in rural Ireland, right through Donegal, Leitrim, everywhere, there is a local cocaine dealer. That means that there is a local criminal selling this crap. Because, by the way, let me tell you, it looks white and fluffy, but it is the most dangerous substance there is. It's sent domestic violence and domestic abuse spiraling. It has sent mental health issues, addiction of spiraling. And it's a hidden crisis that we have in our society. And it's the hidden crisis. There's a health implication, a psychological implication. It has a massive effect on society, on kids, parents, families. But then we also see the manifestation of that when people start taking guns and shooting each other dead because they want to take over and control. They're so greedy, they want to control the supply and the demand and the money that's coming into a village in Donegal or a town in Letterkenny or somewhere like that. That's the reality of crime.
It's not hard to see the connection because there's so much money in it, and you want your own territory. You want to be the supplier for that area, so we can see very clearly. And as you say, cocaine is a horrendous issue in this county and elsewhere. Paul, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
Lovely talking
I'm
to you,
sure
Thank you
many
very much.
will enjoy reading your book. Paul Williams is the author of Crooks, the stories behind the headlines. It's just $16.99. There's a lot of work in it, and it's available. It's published by Allen and Unwin, and it's available in all the usual places where you might expect to see it.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Cupra. People tend to become obsessed. What is it? Where do I find it? How do I get one? And the new Cupra range will only increase that sense of desire, with power options from petrol and diesel to plug-in hybrid and full electric. Experience the new Leon, the new Formentor, and the new all-electric Born VZ. Available now with exclusive offers. That thing you feel? It's called obsession. Visit CupraOfficial.ie.
Your local Cupra dealer is DMG Motors, Clara Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 97 21396.
Say goodbye to traditional peat briquettes and embrace the new sustainable alternative, Zip 100% natural heat logs. Simply add them to a lit fire. These super efficient, low moisture Zip heat logs burn longer and hotter than wood, making them the cost-effective way to heat your home. And they also produce less ash than peat briquettes, meaning reduced cleaning between fires. Zip 100% natural heat logs are available in all good retailers. Give your fire some zip.
At the heart of every successful business are highly skilled and talented people. That's why at SkillNet Ireland, we know that every skill counts. Whatever sector your business operates in and whatever skills you or your business needs, contact one of our 70 SkillNet business networks for training and development that's industry-led and can improve your business success. Visit skillnetireland.ie for upskilling and reskilling supports to develop your team. SkillNet Ireland is a business support agency of the Government of Ireland.
Who's supplying the magic at Lidl this year?
I'm Brian Seary from Seary's Bakery in Carlow. We're very proud to supply Blossom Heron awarded Dundalgan Irish Christmas pudding to Lidl stores. The proof is in the pudding, as they say.
Deluxe Irish Christmas puddings from $8.99. Wishing you a magical Christmas with Lidl.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Find the perfect present for everyone on your list this festive season. Discover the joy of gifting and make Christmas magical with McElhenny's Ballybuffet. Visit us in-store or online at mcelhennys.com.
I mean, we really are in the mouth of Christmas now, aren't we? When we hear the Christmas music and the ads, and it's November the 11th. Today is going to be a dry and bright day with spells of sunshine, feeling fresher with highs of 9 to 11 in a light variable breeze. And I've said it before, but time just seems to be moving so darn quickly. And it's great when you're looking forward to something, but not so great when you look at your birth start. I love listening to Paul Williams. His stories are so fascinating because he's part of them. Times you think it's fiction. because they're so scary and hard to believe they actually happened. Congrats, Paul, on your new book. Look forward to reading it. That comes in from Ava. Thank you very much for that. Fine Gael's proposal to cut the VAT rate for hospitality to 11% in the first 100 days of the next government is laughable, considering they had an opportunity to do this 4 weeks ago in the budget and didn't. It should be also noted that only last week Fine Gael rejected a Sinn Féin proposal to reduce the VAT rate to 9%. And I think that's, is it Sinn Féin still committing to that? Well, this whole O'Leary story is a prime example of government media spin. Everyone knows it's a referral to Enda and other teachers who ran for election, but they're using it as a spin distraction. It was a Fine Gael event, don't forget. By the way, I'm not sure if it's tomorrow. I think it might be tomorrow, but I just heard some of the national analysis of how they think it's going to settle, the election's going to go here in Donegal. And listen, they could be right, but I think there's certainly maybe a lack of local knowledge and geography in some of the predictions. We're going to do the first of what's going to be a series of where are we at, I suppose, in terms of the general election. So we're going to have guests on tomorrow. We're going to, if you're into this stuff, you're going to love it. We're going to sort of see where we think things are going at the moment, what could happen over the next wee while to change things. Could it be Fianna Fáil with 2 seats? Could it be Fianna Fáil with 1 seat or no seat? Or Sinn Féin with 2 or 3 or none? All right, so we're going to have that conversation tomorrow. Looking forward to that, and hopefully you are too. And we'll put it together as an individual podcast for those of you interested in that manner of thing. If you have any questions or comments in relation to that, let us know. 086 60 25,000. I just want to speak to those of you listening on podcast, by the way. Thank you so much for streaming it and downloading it every day. You can email or WhatsApp us your comments, and we'll pick it up for the next show, and you can have it in that podcast, if you know what I mean. Or if you're listening overnight, as many of you do, and it's great to have you on board as well, feel free to WhatsApp or email, and we can carry your overnight comments into the daytime show, if that makes sense. But for me, Greg Hughes, Caroline Orr, who's ever present researching and producing, and Shannon working on the show as well, have a wonderful